The letter I received from was written by the Sonja Breznik, okrožna državna tožilka, Sonja Breznik, District Court State Attorney, District State Attorney, and it was sent to me by the Specialized State Prosecutor Office from Ljubljana. This is from department which is in charge for the prosecution of officials with a special authorizations, or people, whatever you want to. This letter does not have anything to do with the reality. It's a science fiction, different from 2012 when I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, where it was alleged that I am trying to exterminate Slovenian people, Roma people, Jews, strong supporter of the Breivik. I did not know where I was at the time when I was thrown into the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana in 2012. Basically, they have written that I was completely out of touch with reality, that I did not sense anything. I didn't mention George Orwell. I mentioned Slovenian system, Slovenian psychiatric system that started this ordeal at my age 3 months through the Josip Broz Tito, through the Belgrade. This video is about this building here, the people that work inside of this building, who have written me based on MK Ultra brainwash a letter in which they allege that on October the 30th I was not hospitalized at Novo Mesto police station, where I came to complain against police officers of Novo Mesto station, but because of my psychological condition, it was ambulance, physician, urgent medical assistance is what they, for Amir and Sudin, inquired to give me assistance, in which physician, due to my level of the psychological condition, established it was necessary hospitalization. Like I said, it's a sunny day today outside. No, it's night. It's I hope you see it. It's a tree out there. No, that's a car. This did not start in my case in 2012. It started since I was a baby. For me, that's a tree. For me, that's a sunny weather outside. For the people who do this stuff, it's different. Slovenia once used to be a Yugoslav republic, the Republic of the Greater Serbian Chetnik State, with also Croatia, Kosovo, Bosnia, Macedonia, Montenegro. There used to be such a place also like Vojvodina. But it finally exploded in a Serbian war, simultaneous war against four nations at the same time, against the Slovenia, against Croatia, against the Bosnia, against the Kosovo people at the same time. And as the biggest as the war in the so-called Yugoslavia, they claimed were discriminated against, etc., etc. The war ended in Serbia expanding its border for about maybe even 5 times in size of what one used to be originally. Severe ethnic cleansing on Kosovo, killing people throughout Bosnia, genocide through unimaginable crime throughout the Kosovo, throughout the Bosnia, and also throughout the Croatia, although they don't want to mention that. Maybe the worst was in Croatia. There was stuff that went on through Srebrenica and so on, Bosnia, but with the stuff that went on through the Vukovar and in other parts of Croatia is simply unimaginable. Well, they did not recognize that. They bombarded also Slovenia, came out with the tanks here, but this country was lucky enough to have, as once it proclaimed its independence, and it did so for the first time after 1,400 years. Interesting information. There was a barrier between the Slovenia and between the Serbia, and that was Croatia and Bosnia. So they got away, I'm not going to say relatively, with little damage, because it was American side, German side, British side, French side, Italian. Everybody established that they got away with it with nothing too easily, and it's why these people here in Slovenia do not appreciate their independence. Everybody knows that. And so to get things even better, today I'm going to be talking to you about, this is going to be entry. If you did not watch this video, please do not consider the complaint. If you did not watch this video, do not proceed with the complaint. Yugoslavia used to be a multi-ethnic country where you could, if abroad, even file criminal charges, genocide charges against the Serbs, majority in Yugoslavia, which were hiding their extermination, ethnic cleansing procedures behind what was known as a multi-ethnic state. So now if you were Albanian and you file genocide claims against Serbs, or you were a Slovenian, or you were a Bosnian, or you were a Croat, or wherever you might have been, this great multi-ethnic state, which was I'm gonna say led almost by the British mafia, literally, through the Josip Broz Tito. They and later others, they had a defense mechanism in place, and this defense mechanism allowed them to actually say, well, you are filing charges against Yugoslavia, well, genocide charges against Yugoslavia, well, look here, it's a multi-ethnic country we have, that's our biggest wealth, our biggest power. We have so many other ethnicities that do not complain about genocide, it's therefore only you. And through the British mafia, talking about the Prince Philip, Queen Elizabeth, there was no complaint ever that would go through. I say so because Josip Broz Tito used Prince Philip as a tour guide throughout United States of America. You know, like a tour guide. Yugoslavia was so extremely important because of connection with the Soviet Union, Eastern Bloc, that Josip Broz Tito was just served by the royal elites, by the elites globally, from the rear and from the front, whichever way he liked. And just happened so that I was right next to him everywhere. Yeah, I am a disgrace not only for Josip Broz Tito, but foremost for the global elites. Today I am going to talk to you about, in this video I am going to talk to you about this office here, how even this complaint came on the picture through this office. Something I already have mentioned about right here. It's this link I'm gonna post below. Yeah, this is the stuff I'm gonna post below. Yeah, the letter is completely insane letter. This is completely insane letter. This is like the letters from psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje. It had nothing to do with reality. It suggests that I communicated, that I mentioned to the police officer at Novo Mesto police station, that I communicated what is this crap? That I communicated with the state and with the police officers telepathically. And this word telepathically is embedded into surveillance, so that I was telepathically communicated and directed by the Slovenian state officials, police, and that kind of stuff. That's what this letter suggests, and I do the complete breakdown about the brainwash that went on. So I was disconnected, I suppose. Okay, they disconnected me, fine. I was just I need to put the video about the play with the modem based on MK Ultra. They replaced the modem and stuff like this. They keep coming and causing problems because this letter here is very due. The complaint needs to be forwarded, of course, forwarded, and they're doing all kinds of stuff to steal the time, and that involved also the telephone problems, all kinds of issues, right? So this is where that kind of stuff is coming from. Never ever have I had any kind of experience telepathically with anyone. During MK Ultra, they insisted on a telepathy, communicating telepathically, but I was such a low, next to directed energy weapons, next to brain stimulation electrodes inserted in my head, next to the microwaving, next to all kinds of theories they came with. They also insisted on telepathy, but I was such a bad candidate for telepathy that they actually abandoned it. Prince Charles, King Charles figured out that I was just not the right candidate with the telepathy, and figured out that that would be a step too far and would possibly affect directed energy weapon theories, microwaving, brain electrodes, chips inserted in the head, that kind of stuff they brainwashed me with. Yeah, this was their brainwash, psychiatric, based on violence and based on the poisoning. Poisoning was a hardcore, the base for directed energy stuff that was used for the brainwash, right? because it's a phenomena I would only experience during MK Ultra, talking about the poisoning that would leave me with a severe health consequences. Yes, and you understand? When they poison you, you can feel being poisoned. Stuff I have spoken about and is connected to the liver and kidney problems is also very suitable to add to that. Also, simultaneously, a brainwash about microwaving and about directed energy weapons, that kind of stuff. So basically, if you consider this issue, and there are such things like microwave weapons and directed energy weapons, there are brain stimulation electrodes. I don't know about the chips. I don't know about any of that stuff. There is Neuralink and such a stuff, and these were the people that were involved in it. It just perfectly blended, not into a paranoia or into the schizophrenia, but into a torture that went on every millimeter, every inch, every centimeter of my life. The surveillance, you cannot go and do the stuff unless you surveillance individual. How the fuck are you going to do things if you don't know where the subject is located inside of the house or outside of the house? Just the proof about how many people I met outside of the house and identify is a proof enough, obviously, that the police stalked me, right? I mean, just identifying so many people would tell you that being stalked, being surveillanced 24/7 is just a matter of fact and no imagination. This is one of the things. Entire village, entire city was involved in this stuff. People across the Krka River, the neighbors, were all involved in this stuff. So I don't know anything about the rest of the stuff, but when it comes to even telepathically, they mentioned that I claimed that I telepathically communicated with officials and was directed by the state telepathically. That is fucking insane. That is a true definition of insanity, and it's also ultimate scorn for human dignity that applies to the victim of MK Ultra brainwash. It's like you're saying there is no MK Ultra, there is no surveillance, there is no stalking, there is no directed energy weapons, and they did use directed energy weapons on me to make myself clear about it. And what you do is you wrap all this stuff in one word that truly does not exist to my knowledge, or that I ever mentioned was pertain to my case, and that's called telepathically. And that's exactly what Sonia Breznik, who was inside of this room with me and assembled this letter here that you see. There is her signature right there. Based on requirements, based on a request, a special request, a demand of British Prince Charles, British King Charles. Yes. I know that this would already sound completely insane, but if you insert the text into the Google Translate, the Slovenian, which is a non-existent language, this is a language spoken by 2 million people, you're going to get exactly word-to-word exact translation to the English language. He was involved in this stuff, and this letter here that you see was in making since I was in a second, third grade of the grammar school. Basically, since I was of the age 1908, 9, in 1978, in 1979, in 1980. This is the letter that was in making. And you will say, how the hell is that possible, right? How the hell is that possible? Well, let me explain to you how this stuff is. Not possible, but how this stuff is done. And what you will do is, if you will want to know how this stuff was done, this is yet another crime that I explained about in a list of crimes right here in this video. I talk about how my telephone was stolen from me by Milan Kucan, who designed the crime in my 4th grade of the grammar school in 1982. Or you will go and you will visit, let's just say, Graben here. I'm gonna demonstrate you that the stuff I talk about is very, very, very important for me, this stuff, to explain. Milan Kucan was into the very, very long-term projects. I will explain about who Milan Kucan is and absolutely everything. This is a man from Josip Broz Tito, right hand from Josip Broz Tito for Slovenia. And Udba, a KGB killer, that was his profession. That still is his profession. And you will see, for instance, a home tom problem that goes all the way back to 1994, a theft of the telephone, or part of the telephone. And the best one, maybe this one here. This is about the canalization problem, or this may be even better than canalization problem. Is this here. This is maybe the best of the best. Before we even barely I realized that father purchased the land here, and this is the stuff that goes in 1979. This goes earlier than to 1979. 7 years of age. This goes earlier than to 1979. So Milan Kucan had a long-term project. So I'm going to put these links underneath. Okay, so for him, a long-term project, imitation of the schizophrenia, because the Yugoslavia, Ruskis and Serbs were impressed, fascinated with the ability to prove somebody is crazy. Somebody is rather a schizophrenic, paranoid than is talking the truth. The fascination in 70s and 80s was concentrated on ultra-violence, through which you would depict individual because he's not a Serbian, because he's Slovenian, or he's a Croat, or he's Albanian. The goal was to depict him as an entire nation as a paranoids, as a schizophrenics. The people who talk stuff like this are only stupid. There is no genocide. There is no genocide. Everything is wonderful. Pleši kolo, dance kolo, hojlariara. Through the eyes of KGB, through the eyes of UDBA killers, it was the most desired to, better than to kill people, was to portray them as paranoids, as schizophrenics. This was the concentration in Eastern Europe. That's how they murdered people the best way. Why would they be doing this stuff like this? Because if you want to wage the war on an entire nation, and you had to kill a lot of people to make Serbia even bigger, or Russia even bigger, then you have to create as many cases as possible through which you prove that it's just a crazy people. So that international officers, United Nations, International Criminal Court and others, they will simply continue to disregard claims is unreal. Even today they do. Even today they do. There is a lot of people from Abkhazia, Chechnya, Tajikistan, all over the place, Russia, that go and claim ethnic cleansing claims they make. They never make it through. Even when they make it through, was such case in Poland that Polacks deported guy to the Tajikistan to get killed and stuff like this, or through the Belarus and so on. So the stuff I'm talking about is nothing new. This is actually, unfortunately, is a harsh reality, however, which is exposing British royals as one of the main power engines behind this. British royals have their own goals, they have their own agenda. But when it comes to the common dots with the Russians, with the Serbs, with Slovenes, they tend to strike deals. If it's good for them, if it's fine for them, if it fits their agenda, then it really doesn't matter. There is no such thing like a rule of law in Brussels or Strasbourg. European Commission does a Ribbentrop-Molotov plan today in 2025 and did it for the last 53 years as far as I'm concerned. And I was everywhere. Throughout the world, this is a different case. I saw it, and so does Washington DC. They do the stuff that is convenient for them. They don't care. When it comes to the one individual, is just a small person. And when the Cold War ended, and I was used not for the espionage purposes during the Cold War, but literally to crash entire Soviet Union by contaminating Soviet republics, Eastern Europe, with sense of pride, sense of dignity, self-appreciation, ethics, exposing the violence that was done on me in Moscow, in Belgrade, other locations throughout the Eastern Europe by the Russians, by the Serbs, so that people there could see actually with their own eyes what actually it looks like to be inside of the Soviet Union from the third perspective, when they have somebody else from another republic, state, whatever you want to call this, tortured right in front of their eyes, and they realize that this is who they are. I was the one who propelled British, NATO, Germans, French, Americans, give them the ability to visit Moscow frequently. Remember when I mentioned to you Josip Broz Tito, this is what I was. I was the one through whom they deal more than they did through Josip Broz Tito. In the end, when the Soviet Union collapsed, before it even collapsed, and it became clear that the Soviet Union will collapse, as early as in 1986, these people started to sympathize with what they consider openly as an enemy previously. So they could gain sympathy by engaging in genocide against me with what was considered previously as enemy. I wouldn't call them Soviets, I would just call them Russians, Serbs, etc., etc. Yeah. So when the Soviet Union had fallen down in 91, guess what happened? Extermination procedure, genocide procedure just expanded throughout the globe. The West have taken responsibility for continuation of Josip Broz Tito genocide, which started at age below 1 year of age, throughout the Western globe, Western atmosphere for which they knew that I would immigrate, escape to. And I did so. First time I failed, I escaped to the Austria. Tortured by the Yugoslav UDBA, by the Slovenes, hijacked by the British back, would appear in Villach in Austria with Germans. Nothing changed. The second time I figured out I have to go further than Austria, than Europe. I immigrated to United States of America. It was Central Intelligence Agency that did the job instead of KGB in USA. Do you understand the meaning of my words? MI5 Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, European Union Commission was doing the job instead of KGB upon the fall of the Soviet Union on me. Okay? This is what you are watching here in this program. This is what is important for me to understand, that you understand what exactly you are watching. Much more efficient. Let's go back to where I stopped. If you launch the genocide complaint, theoretically, during the times of Yugoslavia, you should be recognized as, because of British diplomacy, because of German diplomacy, American diplomacy. However, you are not. And so nobody ever managed to successfully launch genocide claim against Yugoslavia, I understand. However, the people were offered refuge status throughout the Western Europe and also in the United States. I don't know how that stuff went, because people are also killed. But now, when Slovenia became independent in 1991 and even became a part of the European Union, 2004, part of NATO, you have absolutely nobody to complain to against Slovenia, mistreatment in Slovenia. Do you understand? Because the country was run by what you would acknowledge as a native Slovenians, born right here with the Slovenian names, born to mothers, fathers, Slovenians. And as I was in the same category, the same thing, categorized as a Slovenian. We go to the first question: what ethnicity are you? What is your background, and so on. So how can you complain against your own people, right? Mistreating you. So obviously that you cannot, based on ethnic, based on racial, based on religious. If you're whatever, Christian or whatever, you cannot. You simply don't have a capacity. But the killers who run Slovenia since Slovenian independence in 91 are exactly the killers who run extermination, genocide procedure against me since I was of 3 months of age. So it's like Milan Kučan stated for this Slovenian slaughterhouse. Now we're going to be even able to do the stuff that we were never capable to do in the past. Because the name is Slovenia, you are Slovenian, you have nobody you can go to and complain against. This is why, and this is how I have pre-qualified also myself into the German status. This is why I also demanded for myself a German status. Do you understand the meaning of this stuff? They were creating Serbia here. They are creating Serbia here. And you have nobody you can complain to. You have nobody you can go to and ask for assistance because of your national status, because of your ethnicity. You say that I am insane, that I am crazy. That's what they claim. There is nothing German in me. I have British laugh in my face. I have people laugh in my face. Germans did not laugh in my face, but British did. Humiliated, insulted, and gained support from so many around the world. Yet you did not obviously understood my status, my stateless Slovenian status. You did not understood one. And American citizenship, which I inquired in 2000, was destroyed by the British royals by going through the White House together with the White House Congress to make my life completely impossible, baseless, endless job search in the United States of America, destroy me what should have become a law enforcement career, etc., etc., turn one into not a long-term unemployment, but lifelong unemployment. No, you fucking imbeciles. Both of my families, from my mother's side and from my father's side, both of them were involved in national liberation. This is why my case started when I was 3 months of age. You would not hear from me if that was not the case. And my aunt got actually married to a Yugoslav. He had a rank of the general. Belgrade, me in the Belgrade, yes, his name was Miloslav Pejovic. My grandfather was a decorated man who served in the World War I on 2 fronts. One front was a Battle of Isonzo, which was the bloodiest battle in Europe in the World War I, and one of the bloodiest in the history of the Europe. There was a war between the Austria, as an Austrian soldier, in Italy. It was very bad. Very few even returned alive from there. That's how bad. And departed from there to also fight on the Eastern Front against the Russians for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. He became a prisoner there and spent years in captivity, in a Russian captivity, before he returned to Slovenia. In Russia, saving animals as a veterinarian, and on his way back to Slovenia, saving a Slovenian guy, and so on, that he wounded guy that barely could walk, made back to Slovenia to his family. During the World War II, thanks to this status my grandfather enjoyed, was employed as a secretary of the city. He supplied partisan troops throughout the entire region, Dolenska, with medications, with the medicines necessary for them during the World War II to even survive. And also saved people, so the people took off before they would get them. Was already on a train station with family, Kandia train station, listed for deportation to either Auschwitz or Dachau in Novo Mesto because of this. It was a highly decorated World War II veteran also. Iron Cross in the First War. During the Second World War, highly decorated again by one of the highest decorations in Yugoslavia, again, my grandfather. As for my mother, everybody was a communist, just like on my father's side, enrolled into the partisan national resistance. Even the children that were just few years of age, like my mom was during the World War II, grandmother, a single mother, enlisted them in a partisans, had her brother killed in a battle with the Germans. So if you're thinking about my asking about the German status, you need to look at yourself inside of the mirror, because this story is beyond insane. And this story is lost, not in Slovenian independence, but this story, this genocide extermination procedure, is literally wrapped into the European aristocracy, autocracy, bureaucracy, NATO, European Union protected. This genocide extermination procedure is protected by NATO, by European Union. All the commissioners from European Union, United Nations people, International Criminal Court people, every fucking one of them was involved in this case. I traveled the world, like I stated, first hand, next to British royals. I was hijacked through CIA, through FBI, through MI5, through German agencies, through Russian agencies that they used me for espionage, for Israeli agency, every security agency in the world, to Iran, to North Korea, to whatever location you deem is unimaginable, including to the South American, Brazil, Colombia, destinations where police foot would not cross into. Narcotraffica, you fucking name it. This is me. This is I. The goal was obviously to make this case so big that would become invisible through the bureaucracy, through the royal elites, through the presidents, and so on. This is the stuff you now watch. Basically now associating me with something I never had anything to do with it, even with, based on my knowledge that I know of, okay, I've never heard for a single attorney, lawyer, anybody that would have such a capacity to deal so formally, efficiently, officially as I did with the police officers from Novo Mesto, including Miran Sudin. Never heard of anything like this, and everything is audio recorded. That's what we are doing now. The next thing I'm going to start to translate. The first thing I'm going to do is exactly whatever Sonia Breznik told me to do, and that's basically answer on every concern that, according to her words, she deliberately misstated, over-inflamed to make job easy for me. In reality, she disregarded her work, job, official duties and everything, not to help me out, but to make things even more difficult. In continuation, you're going to hear me talking about the Charles, about how they view this stuff as. They view it truly with a disdain. They continue to bully, harass, based on MK Ultra scenarios, and due to health problems they created me, health problems which they associated with a psychiatric hospitalization, and laws they enacted for themselves here in Slovenia, and maybe elsewhere, maybe they're the same, like in other parts of Europe. My going to seek for the medical help associated with the cancer in this part, that's a cancerous tumor, problems with intestines, and many other problems that I have would simply associate me directly with a previous psychiatric hospitalization procedure. Likewise would be with my visiting social services, I should say, agency for employment, state agency for employment, social services, and so on. The same thing would have happened, as I was brainwashed with and demonstrated, and based on Slovenian law, is a psychiatric hospitalization. Yes, a physician opens your file, and the first thing they ask you, what kind of psychiatric pills do you take, what exactly is going on, where were you last time at the psychiatrist, and so on and so forth. Because this is how they designed this law and order. So I am not a man with no land. I am a man that practically doesn't exist, yet I had to fight demons from London, from Britain, from Washington DC, from Berlin, their autocracy, bureaucracy, lunacy that goes on and on and on and on and on, and for which I was even promised I will be killed through. People who have even associated healthcare, Medicare, surgical needs for the people in other countries with waiting lines that would pertain also to my case. Therefore, like a human rights case, just a waiting line, the same shit. I go to a supermarket and that line just keeps extending, and they say, oh well, it's normal because listen, at this time of the year, at this time, in this period, in this age, people were experiencing all kinds of problem. Like, let's say Irish had a problem also with the queue in healthcare. They would have, I don't know how many people waiting for, I don't know, on the physicians and so on, before they would assist them with necessary posegi, I don't know how you say that, treatments and so on, right? So they talking about the British royals here that were awarding this type of state crime, because it was countries that were interested in working with them so much, and Ireland was probably the most criminal country of all of them. Immediately pledged to become one such instance that would make, that would just simply average and basically simplify, place everything into one basket basically, and make you basically disappear through this. This is the way they do the stuff. Today, in this video, as I stated earlier, I want to talk to you about this building. Who are these people who sent me the letter? I think it makes sense for me before I even go and I start to discuss about what is written here, because this is a total lunacy, like I stated, a telepathy, as they say. It would be interesting for me to explain who these people are. Now you know something a little about me, and why not talk about what Milan Kučan contemplated on, just like it pertained to many other crimes, already since my childhood and my early childhood. Imagine 1979, I found myself in this location right here. I found myself in this location right here. First I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom myself out so that you get idea. This is the city of Novo Mesto. Yeah, and I'm going to go out as far as you can see where exactly this is in Europe. You see right there that dot, Slovenia. And now let's go and let's zoom into it. Oh, this is in the part of the old part of the city. It's called a regional court. They call it in Slovenian, they call this as as a district court of Novo Mesto in English. Right there, just the way you see it right there, just like that. It's called a district court Novo Mesto right there. And next to this district court there is okrožno tožilstvo, državno tožilstvo. That's a district attorney, right? So you have two. One is court, another one is a district attorney. So we have two buildings right there. So I thought that this would be important for me to discuss. Then the second thing I want to do is the letter that I demonstrated you arrived from here. It's called Okrožno državno tožilstvo Novo Mesto. As a matter of fact, might have not even come from here. Okay, now let me see this here. It did came from Ljubljana, it says right there, from Department of for Persecution, Investigation and Persecution of Officials with a Special Authorizations. And let me demonstrate you this stuff here. This here pertains to the Sonja Breznik, this stuff here. Okrožno, this in Novo Mesto. I am from Novo Mesto, yeah. I am from Novo Mesto. As you already all know, I am from Novo Mesto, yeah. Not too far from here. Maybe 2.5 kilometers maybe from here. So it's called a square of the National Liberation Front in Ljubljana. If I put this into a different perspective, it looks like this here. It's a train station, bus terminal, just the way you see it right there. That's what that looks like. And this is the location where I was brought as a baby. This location is where I was brought as a baby. I would not even know for myself practically in those early mornings. At 3 o'clock in the morning I would appear here. 4 o'clock in the morning. It was easier in a summertime than it was during the winter time. horrific. My father would deliver me to Ljubljana, and if it was not father, it would be somebody else. They would dump me into this building here with the police. If he would not go along, I would continue the trip with the police officers, or it would be other police, KGB people that would continue the trip with me. Maybe to Belgrade, maybe to Zagreb, maybe to Rijeka, maybe to whatever destination Josip Broz Tito was. When I was a baby, this it was so bad, drugged up in the mornings here, that I would not even know. I would practically not even know for myself. I only remember it was cold like a bitch sometimes, and I would barely wait to go inside on something warm. This is a main train station in Slovenia. The main train station, the main bus station. This is what this is. This is you are looking at a super bus terminal, one of the biggest bus terminals in Yugoslavia. That used to be in the northern Yugoslavia. Giant place. There are not many buses in there. Giant place. And rather than to have me stick around on the train station, which they also did, that was also torture that went on inside of those buildings right there in the train station, you better believe about that. What they would do is they would simply, all these buildings, torture went absolutely everywhere, including the train station building, everywhere, entire Ljubljana. They would dump me inside of this building here, where I would wait till obviously the ride would come and would take me to whatever, other destination. But this was not always like this. Very often we traveled with the cars. They traveled with the cars. They were trafficking me through the personal cars. The older I was becoming, the more that option was in use, the cars, basically. Well, I did explain to you, this building here, I must say to you, is the building where this Slovenian garbage is now based. Specializirano državno tožilstvo, oddelek za preiskovanje pregona uradnih oseb za posebnimi pooblastili. What is inside of that building in upper floors, I do not know. I know that in the medium floors I can describe the offices, I can describe the interior exactly the way it looks like. The reason for uncertainty in upper floors is because this was the building in Ljubljana where Milan Kučan, who was using Robert Golob, Gregor Golobic, Borut Pahor, Tanja Fajon, was absolutely prohibited for me to understand about what was inside of that building. They did demonstrate the building, but they had at least 5 other buildings they have associated with this building, claiming me that for all those different locations that they demonstrated me, that this is this building. MK Ultra brainwash procedure allows abusers to use you almost like as you would be using a remote controller. That's basically, you can be in this building or in front of the building in one moment, and you can wake up in the next moment 1,000 kilometers away. This is basically the way it is. And that all depends on quantity of the drugs that are used on your system. If the quantity is very big quantity and you barely respond to the stimulants, to the whatever you are stimulated in response, you have absolutely no control over the ability. Basically, you're not even if you're in a physical condition that this allows you to even respond, because you're practically dead, completely jerked up, and you only respond to the jabs. That's all there is to it. You understand? And in the next moment, if I wake you up back in this building, and this was done in this building 100 times, 100 plus times, and I start to interrogate you, if you now remember what is inside of the building, and you give me the right answers, and I start to dare you about, boy, you're gonna be, you're gonna be fucked. What did you say? Like Borut Pahor did to me 1,000 times, not 100 times. With the Gregor Golobic, with Robert Golob right in front of the building, and also involving other people in this. You're gonna start to doubt about that you even remember what is inside of the building correctly, and you will start to assume that the lie they have inserted, just like I demonstrated you right now, is correct about it. Do you understand? This is the technique they have used in front of this building a million times, no less. There was so much of violence outside during Yugoslavia in this building, and randomly they dare to go on also during independent Slovenia. That is fucking incredible. Involving 5 different buildings, one definitely in Bulgaria, I don't know if it was in Sofia, another one definitely in London, maybe even 2 buildings in London. One, I understand, was in Bosnia, probably in Sarajevo. That's what they claim. I don't know about that. One was also in Belgrade. So I don't know how many I stated now, and it probably was more than that buildings. So the chances that you would go and talk about something with a certainty are basically fuck. And I use the word fuck because of the criminal who was here in Novo Mesto from France or Belgium. I don't know who he was. I think he was from Belgium. He might have also been from Spain. I don't know. I'm going to look into it. Supposedly the investigator who demanded from me, let me demonstrate you something, seated inside of our kitchen, and let's see this here, and the biggest problem to him was this here. This was of the biggest concern to him. Okay, let's go and see. This is what actually the biggest problem to him, to this Euro individual, was, you have to be very, very careful with this stuff, the stuff that I'm doing now, because it will easily escape to you. You have to know exactly under which corner to go. There were 3 times that ambulance sirens screamed when I was on October the 30th at Novo Mesto police station, based on MK Ultra scenario. The stuff that was sent to me, this stuff here, they rehearsed this stuff. Sure enough, they rehearsed this stuff on they at least had me at the Novo Mesto police station with the sirens inside probably 50 times. The sirens were actually used to create a post-traumatic stress disorder pertaining to this case alone. And there was too many cases like this to mention. Sirens that Miran Sudin used that day. A special police officer, Robert Golob, the right hand of Milan Kuchan, referred to him as Kuchan is private psychiatrist, attorney, and the police officer. It was so that they insisted me since 99. Psychiatrist Peter Kapsch insisted 2000 there will be 10 sirens since 99, and I don't know what the fuck he was talking about, what kind of sirens. It was right here behind the village, toward the Žihovo Selo, the route. They asphalted in 2024, I understand. And it took another 2 years. Actually, shortly after, he reduced the number of at least 10 sirens or more to 6 sirens. And I had no fucking idea about what went on. Then I found myself at the police station, and they started to what I refer to as on the complaint letter to Miran Sudin on October the 30. They started to build a crime which would culminate in psychiatric hospitalization, as it did, regardless of it. Miran Sudin, he will explain that he promised me during MK Ultra hospitalization this way or the other, because I interrogated him also. I also asked him a question: what about if I will not make mistakes? What about if I will not react to this? What about if I will not say that? What about if I will not this and that? It's going to be psychiatric hospitalization anyways. Miran Sudin words, I repeat, Miran Sudin words. As for the sirens, it was so that they stated me that with each siren, that's a bad sign when you hear one, you're closer to the psychiatric hospitalization. And they did this shit for no less than 20 years inside of the police station where they would deliver me for the torture. This police station was a torture station. Before the police station was built, they tortured me inside in there. They have built that police station in parts. The main torture that went on by the police in Novo Mesto went on exactly at the court that I demonstrated you, and also here in this building. This was the main stuff. Let me demonstrate you where the main torture went on. This is what we are talking about. We are talking about the letter. Who sent the letter? Who sent the letter? This, they had a jail where they tortured me. It's called the District Court of Novo Mesto. And right behind this building, it's what they claim now it's a district attorney. They claim it's a district attorney. This is no fucking district attorney. You know what this is? I will explain to you what this is. I will tell you exactly who is here, who was here. This is the location that I was delivered by the Serbs, by the Slovenians also, from the home, from Trdinova, Šteri, from home, from my home here, from Novo Mesto. Right here, let me demonstrate you. I will demonstrate you what this is, so that you will understand what this is. Because they call it a district court. This is no district court. This is a lie. This never was any district court, and this never will be district court. This never was any district court, and this never will be any district court. This here. They demonstrate this as a route to my home where I used to live before. They show it like this. Look at it. Look what they do. Obviously, they're demonstrating for the car. In reality, it looks like this. It's just about 700 meters from our old home. This was our old home, right here, in the city of the Novo Mesto. right next to the bank here that you see, Ljubljanska banka was always there. This was our home right there. This here. This is our house in Novo Mesto. When they would torture me throughout the Novo Mesto and all these buildings here, where they have military officers inside, police officers, KGB practically people, UDBA people, all kinds of people they would have inside, and that they build these buildings here, these apartment buildings. There was nothing other than KGB inside. Police, secret police, military personnel, that's all there was, all over the fucking place. They were asking me, why you don't like this, why you don't like this, why the fuck would I like this? This was nothing other than a KGB all over the fucking place. Military, Serbs. They were up to no good. It was nothing other than torture. My school, grammar school, and our house, like I stated right here. And if you will not be good, when you are not good, yes, when you are not good, what is this no good? No good is when you child, practically child, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, 8 years old, and you no good. 10 years old, and a police officer that was doing this stuff would deliver me to the jail. You know what that is? Where they say it's a district attorney. That used to be a jail. That was a police station. They had the jail inside in there, where they would jail me and torture me inside, and it was bestial. And best part about it is, they did not stop with the torture when Slovenia became independent. They were using as security officers, and they were using a police to deliver me back to the location and continue with the torture inside in the independent Slovenia. For you, you may call this a district court, but for me, this case never was stopped. From what used to be Yugoslavia, it only expanded even more. It progressed in the same way against me. This genocide never was stopped. They continue with it. For me, everything is the same. You can call it a district court, whatever you want to call it. That used to be the main police station, really. This is why the jail was inside. Yeah, this was a police station. Now they call it a district prosecutor. Yeah, see this here? And this is where you are, right in front of the, it just throws you out straight into the courthouse. So this old police station is right here. This used to be a police station. You understand? You click on that stuff and it dumps you right here. This used to be a police station. This here. This is where they take you inside. And again to the bottom down. Jail. So don't you fucking talk to me about two things. This trial that they want me to go and complain myself to file the complaint, as this Sonja Breznik mentioned here. The Sonja Breznik stated here that I have for 30 days time so that I can complain against her decision and continue a complaint through the local court. They call it the court. Let me demonstrate the court so that you will see the court. This tužilstvo v Novem mestu. This court here that also served as a jail. They had a jail here too. They would deliver me here. These were the locations where the police directly tortured and treated me like a prisoner as a child already. If you will behave badly. There is two things Slovenia doesn't have. Slovenia doesn't have any kind of courts. Slovenia doesn't have any kind of a state prosecutors or anything like that. This here is actually truly hilarious. That is right here in front of the district court. Like I said, this is police station. This is not a district state prosecutor in my eyes. In my eyes, this is not. This is a jail, just like the jail is here. They tortured in the jail here. They tortured in the jail there. This used to be a police station right there. You understand? These are two things you don't have. One thing is what I stated to you, and the second thing, this is a new police station that they tortured before one even was completed entirely. From one police station to another police station. There is two things Slovenia doesn't have. Slovenia is not the country. Slovenia is a big lie. It's a scam. This is not a country. This is just it's not a nation. It's not a country. It's a scam. This is Yugoslavia. And there are no courts here, there are not state prosecutor here, and there is no police here. There are professional killers, assassins that work 24/7 to murder, to kill. Slovenia is a concentration camp on open. Slovenia doesn't have any kind of independence. I never recognized Slovenia, which never managed to resolve this case. Slovenia always attempted to resolve this case with a genocide. I am a native. I am here from Slovenia. I am not Slovenian, but I am a native of Slovenia. I was in Slovenia before any other Slovenian people arrived here. And this is the stance I will maintain to the grave. Why I am going to do this? Well, for obvious reasons. For obvious reasons. Think about the story that I gave you and think about how you would feel about it. Would you see yourself in a Slovenian people? Would you recognize them as a country, as a legitimate formation, or would you label them as the ultimate enemy, as a parasite, practically? How would you go about the stuff like this, about your own people that did not manage to resolve this case, but have in fact continued to do whatever they possibly can under Slovenian brand to exterminate you for the purposes of what used to be before Yugoslavia? You think about it. Am I crazy? Am I sick? Whatever it might be, you will come to conclusion and then decide for yourself. Let's talk about these people. Let's talk about this garbage here. So I thought that this would be very, very important for me to preliminary eliminate this issue. So let's go back to the ambulance vehicle. Slovenia doesn't have any kind of independence. This is not a country and this is not a nation. Did not manage to resolve this. I am trying to make sure that ambulance vehicle would not escape to me. This was the biggest concern of this individual. I think he was from Spain. I think he was not really French or Belgian. He was in our kitchen. He interacted with the Fayon, with the Tanya Fayon. Let's talk a little bit about the people here involved in this stuff here. This is Tanya Fayon. My age. Was selected to be my wife when I was a child. Milan Kučan, Robert Golob. The best proof about Milan Kučan and Robert Golob is Slovenian media. Let me explain something to you about the Slovenian media. I'm going to be very, very short about the Slovenian media. Really short about the Slovenian media. Slovenian media are killers, professional assassins. they are no journalists, these people that work in Slovenian media. It's hard to believe, portrayed Milan Kučan and Robert Golob in the media for the first time. I don't know what year was it, when Robert Golob finally got into the government, which is fucking bizarre, fucking insane, fucking sick. Maybe the biggest proof about Slovenian media, who the Slovenian media people are, is exactly right here in these pictures here. If you gather this as the only picture ever that you managed to find next to Milan Kučan, Robert Golob, only when Robert Golob entered into Slovenian government, then you are a fucking ultimate scum. You're not people. You're fucking ultimate scum. And you did so zato, da bi vaša slovenska pravljica krvava prišla do srečnega konca. What I stated in Slovenian, I stated so that your bloody fable would come unto the happy end. The man that you see right there, one is Milan Kučan. I'm going to demonstrate you Putin next to one. So this is the same man, Milan Kučan. I'm going to demonstrate you Milošević, a war criminal who also would come to this court in Slovenia. He was very, very active about it. Look, this is Milan Kučan with Milošević. If that's all you ever managed, that this is what you managed, then you Slovenes, you are trying to create your own fable, pravljica, lie. If that's all you managed to gather about Milan Kučan and Robert Golob, is crazy, insane, fucked up completely, because these two were like a pants and shirt. And another comrade whom Milan Kučan also mentored was Gregor Golobić. This is this guy here. He had a whole line of these guys, and it's almost likewise, you don't get to see one almost anywhere. Barely anywhere you can see one. They're hiding these faces for the schizophrenia purposes, because the story they write pertaining to my case is all based on imitation of the schizophrenia. Imitation of the schizophrenia is MK Ultra. MK Ultra is imitation of the schizophrenia. So Slovenian people are not a good people. For me to see myself in this, stuff like this, is just something that's not gonna happen. Sonia Breznik insisted that letter sent to me like this, bizarre letter, is actually even assistance to me. She claimed that this letter mentions that I pathologically communicated with the state officials and was directed by Slovenian state what did I even say here? This expression, this I have to be really careful about this stuff here. Telepathically, that I was telepathically directed, and that I communicated telepathically with telepathy, telepathy. Wow. And that I was actually hospitalized based on my mental state, obviously completely mental state, in complete disregard of, as I stated, I never heard that anybody would be capable to be so efficient, so effective, so diplomatic with the police as I was. That's fucking crazy. I mean, that's fucking crazy. When Sonia Breznik sent me the letter, this letter here, when it came in the envelope, and I video recorded also the opening of this letter, Sonia did not even bother to include in this letter, she did not even bother to include in the letter the paperwork which pertained to my complaint that I submitted her. And on my complaint, which I submitted to the Sonia Breznik, I have demonstrated her entirely. My complaint, which I submitted to her, is this here. This is my complaint that she received in her hands. And it's a complaint where I explain more in details about my life. I explain more about my life. Everything. How it all started, who was it, why, and so on and so forth. Absolutely everything. Everything. The best complaint I ever read in my lifetime that somebody would do anything like this. It's incredible. It's a complaint that took me to create 53 years. She completely disregarded one and associated this stuff here. Therefore, the official complaint that I send also to International Criminal Court, I send one to United Nations, I send one to European Union Commission, I send one to the US Justice Department of State, and so on and so forth, which, by the way, FBI stated me when I sent them before. They told me that the complaint would be disregarded and so on and so forth. This is what FBI stated me. They told me about these things. But at the same time, they would not stop the investigation. This is the type of excuse they gave me. So this is really, really lousy stuff that goes on. This bureaucratic stuff, this stuff that goes on, really is doing their best to protect Slovenia, right? So that's what we have going on. We have the stuff exactly that I started in this video, that I explained to you in detail, is exactly what we have going on all government, intra-governmental institutions, agencies, governments globally, engaging in complete cooperation with one another. The most bizarre stuff ever. I possibly cannot believe that somebody could be this. I signed for on April the 20th. This stuff was signed on April the 20th, and she gave me the 30 days time to complain against her decision, which is nothing but lies, to the local district court, you know. Well, let's just continue to work with this stuff, because I go a little bit brain dead when I think about stuff like this. I don't know where she got these issues about me communicating with anybody telepathically, and where did she got, together with the proofs that I listed her and with the audio recordings of me at the police station, which are the best possible stuff I possibly could imagine one could do. Sonia Breznik also claimed that I did not explain what MK Ultra is to the police officers. It can be heard on my audio recordings. I explained at the police station, Novo Mesto, to the police officers. On the week of October the 30, on the prior week of October the 30, and during the initial meeting with police officers, Pevec that goes way back in time. That was wow. She just starts with something that is, she just doesn't even mention why I originally came to the police station. Actually, she does here. Stojan Pevec, Jaka Recel. Yeah, there was violence, and it was all violence based on MK Ultra procedure, just as I explained. Together with these guys, I have in the most professional way explained these people, on at least also to the police officers at the front window that assisted me. I think his name was Rosman, I'm not sure. Well, I'd be fucking damned if I didn't take time at least 5 times to explain these people about what MK Ultra is in a total detail, with precision of, as is nowhere written about what MK Ultra is, but with the precision of the psychiatrist, better than what psychiatrists would do. Precision. And psychiatrists are the people along police who run these operations solely. I'd be fucking damned if I didn't at least 5 times explain this stuff. She also wrote that I never explained this stuff, and I was even aggressive, obviously raising my voice on police officer and stuff like that. Police officer, state prosecutor, private psychiatrist and attorney from Milan Kučan, Miran Sudin, who throughout the process, and it can be heard that he was playing a psychiatrist, that he was playing stupid, that not that he was playing stupid, but he treated me like a stupid. He ridiculed me all the time. I continue to treat with a smile on my face, with a kindness, and of course with as much as possible helpful attitude I could have. I offered the gentleman twice, wanted to make sure, because it's not easy to complete these complaints. He came from Ljubljana, even a chance to go to the local, if he is hungry, wherever. I didn't want to push him on time. I wanted him to take time, feel good, so that we can sit and we can complete this job, because it's a big task. Everybody, including the people who wear uniforms, they have to be in the right element to be helpful. And that means using toilets, eating food, taking breaks, and so on. This is a big job. He, talking about Miran Sudin, even make a very stupid remark, laughing in my face. He suggested, just keep writing, just keep writing, just keep writing. It's all audio recorded, this stuff. Well, he was making fun of my writing. He was making fun of my complaints during MK Ultra. This man, Miran Sudin, who was involved in genocide against me since my childhood, with Gregor Golobic, with Robert Golob. He was one of the people who was involved in this case, and who also was identified already on my website as such, on my blog. So, what the fuck was Sonia Breznik doing other than continuing, basically jumping right across proofs, evidence from the police station, and continuing exactly the procedure that these people started in 2012 when they threw me inside of the psychiatric hospital. Basically, no, that's a car right there, that's not a tree. It's pitch dark outside. What exactly was she doing? What was she doing? What exactly was she up to? What exactly was she doing if she was, if not what I stated? This is Slovenia. Slovenia is a concentration camp on open. Let's go and let's talk about building in Ljubljana, from where this letter was sent to me. That's why I stated, if you did not watch this part, if you did not watch this video, when I break down who the people are who sent me this letter, response letter, don't bother with the rest of it. Don't bother with the rest of it. I did explain to you about somewhat what ambulance sirens were used for. The last time ambulance siren was used that day, based on MK Ultra scenario, which Slovenian police made sure that they would average with, sirens, use of sirens during, they refer to as busy hours. Miran Sudin was not available at police station when I came. He made a choice, he made a timing based on MK Ultra. Miran Sudin claimed he would even be at the police station. That's what he claimed. But based on MK Ultra brainwash, that's what he claimed. Miran Sudin claimed that that day he will not be traveling from Ljubljana to the Novo Mesto, but he will be already at Novo Mesto. I don't know. That's what he claimed. Who cares? Timing which Miran Sudin selected for the day of meeting on October the 30 was selected based on hours, which are the busiest hours that happened throughout the Novo Mesto. And they did this kind of stuff because they wanted me to arrive late. Now, do you understand what I stated? What you listen to the audio of Miran Sudin and myself interacting on October the 30, the timing which they selected, they have even rehearsed the timing, not rehearsed, investigated, but there was a portion of the road, the city, they preemptively, many years ahead, they have closed down for the sake of this meeting here. This is how important this meeting was for the Slovenian nation. Look, let me demonstrate you. I will demonstrate you. As you know, I was not in Slovenia almost at all. You know that I seek the political refuge in a dozen countries. I was inside of the psychiatric hospital, locked up, running around, trying to escape this madness. Or simply I was locked inside of the room at home, writing the complaints, hijacked around the world, trafficked, tortured more, so Slovenia could wash its hands in a pool of blood. This is where I live at, this here. You can walk and you can make it through like this in 4.2 kilometers, just like the way you see it. By doing this stuff, you can cut through the streets. You don't have to go, and you simply, how can I say, you make a turn here and you don't have to go through the traffic, and you go quickly through here. You see? However, let me demonstrate you this stuff here. However, I have to explain to you, with the car you cannot enter here, only you can go up to here. It's prohibited, only for the bicycles. It's prohibited to enter with a car. It's a one-way street. Since I was not in the city of the Novo Mesto and since I was not using this road, police literally counted based on MK Ultra brainwash that this is the portion of the road that would completely fuck me. In other words, they believed that I would go through here, and you're not supposed to do this. It doesn't allow me to go to the other side. You see? It doesn't allow me to go to the other side, but I'm going to demonstrate you the sign here. You're not supposed to turn in. Police was brainwashing me on this issue during MK Ultra and was certain that I would probably even make stupid stuff when turning in here. Even the meeting that Miran Sudin selected with the police, together with the police, they all investigated based on time, their predisposition, how long it would take me, and so on. And the meeting itself with the Sudin was designed for me to never meet one. Those kind of hours they have selected. The whole thing was done in such a way. However, yes, I made it right on time. I was there, and the rest is yet to be investigated. And then it was that play with the ambulance vehicles and stuff like that. Open window based on MK Ultra scenario, for which each siren blow should make me feel closer to a psychiatric hospital in Ljubljana Polje, which Miran Sudin guaranteed me. Even if I would not do any mistakes or whatever, as he claimed, it would be it. And he played a psychiatrist from a very core, from the very first minute when I met him. Talked about the rucksacks. Ne nahrbtnik, ampak rucksack. Nahrbtnik is a backpack. And the rucksack, you guys already know what the rucksack looks like. Rucksack is used for fishing, for the stuff like that. And backpacks, actually rucksacks are not used for the school, for other activities that you otherwise do, as I was using. But he was trying to do with the police and also with the ambulance workers who were involved in crime, to portray me like a complete imbecile. It was about the rucksacks and all kinds of stupid stuff, without even allowing me to hear myself. If you're gonna listen to the audio recording, eventually you're gonna come to the minute where I am gonna say to him, he's gonna ask me when he couldn't hear me, I couldn't hear him, talking about the physician, doctor who came at the police station, yet he insisted that he stated during our talk, he asked me, so when did they first hospitalize you? And I understood, because of the loudness of the police officers who almost yelled inside in there. All of a sudden there was a full room of police officers. For what? I don't even know. I was extremely polite, nice, everything. They wanted to create, through the trauma, through the anxiety, they were sure that I'm going to do something stupid, maybe leave the police station or something like that kind of stuff. And I had absolutely no intention. I had a really good time watching them doing that stuff. Physician asked me a question. He said, and when were you the first time hospitalized? And I misunderstood that, and I said, in 2015, which was the last time. No? So I thought that he was asking me about the last time. And he said, that's a proof that he alone could not hear, because of the police officers yelling, screaming inside in there about what went on. He said, but you mentioned earlier 2012. You know that as a physician, as a doctor, if you are summoned to the location to intervene in such an issue with a psychiatric hospitalization, you know that you have to offer your individual with whomever you're dealing with, person, you have to establish what is going on. And to establish about what's going on, you have to allow the man to communicate normally, right? Do you understand? As a physician, his job was to step to the police officers and ask him, could you please leave here? Could you please go from here? As a matter of fact, because that was the case and because they did not stop with it, it was his job to write down that upon arrival to the Novo Mesto police station, police was so loud, interrupted with ongoing blah 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 loudness, that I could not even converse with a person that was in front of me. In other words, they did not allow me to exchange, to communicate with a person so that I could, based on my professional opinion, establish what went on with the person. He did not do that. He did not do that. He decided to do something else, evidently, as Sonia Breznik. All this stuff is evident on the audio recording. Everything is proven. It's very, very easy. That's why it's audio recorded. And the audio recordings were the biggest problem of Slovenian police, of Slovenian state prosecution. That much about the ambulance vehicles involved in this stuff. From what used to be 10 plus, psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, that's a psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, I have already spoken about this individual. He used to have, if you would Google his name, you know, it's interesting because he used to have many other images, his facial images, and those images also came in a color in a black and white. We'll also get that kind of stuff, and you don't see it anymore. It's quite interesting. This individual, this psychiatrist from Novo Mesto, demanded from me, with Americans, to see in one literally Lavrenti Beria. Lavrenti Beria was a right hand of Joseph Stalin. Lavrenti Beria. Lavrenti Beria, this one here. He facially tried all his best to also remind of the Lavrenti Beria, and wanted me to see him as a Lavrenti Beria. He certainly made impression on everybody involved from the West that he tried to look like a Lavrenti Beria. Imenuje izluđivanje, driving somebody completely insane, etc., etc., because he wanted to create out of my personality a neo-Nazi personality. That was his goal. You see, when I was delivered by Milan Kučan upon Slovenian independence to this building here again in Ljubljana, we're going to move on from this ambulance vehicles. Right, that is right here in front of this building. When they did this stuff, you know, in independent Slovenia, there was this blondine guy, Milan Kučan had, that insisted me that when you make it here, it's a national liberation for Slovenia. Because you don't like the partisans, you don't like the national liberation, you don't like the Soviet Union, you don't like Yugoslavia and all this, and the name is Trg Osvobodilne Fronte 13, and 13 is not a lucky number. This is an unlucky number. And on top of that, he had this individual threatening me here on the street, humiliating me. He also came to Novo Mesto and stuff like that. Engaged in violence outside here, in threats, in death threats and stuff like that, in front of the building. You know what I mean? That's not very nice when you do stuff like that. That's really, really not very nice. That's very bad. So, they were very, very certain that when I'm gonna come here, that this is just gonna be a really bad feeling when I get the letter. I was tortured inside in here, in this building where also Janez Janša, Lojze Peterle, all these people will also find themselves inside, but sometimes in 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they realized that I started to equal them with Golobic, with Golob, with Kučan and others, and simply they would not want to be seen inside of this building anymore. Now, the power of Milan Kučan is in the hands of these people here. These are supposedly the opposition of the Milan Kučan, and it is opposition, such opposition that Milan Kučan has nothing to worry about. These are the people that Janez Janša, Lojze Peterle, these people, the so-called independence heroes, they did not like me. They didn't want to see me anywhere on the picture. This is basically the Slovenian bureaucrats that enjoyed their salaries in the Brussels. I guess they couldn't even see themselves in Slovenia anymore, liked to travel, watch the castles, started to cure himself with natural medications, grass, became a healer for his cancer, blame me for his cancer. This is the so-called Slovenian independent people. This is what you have. And then you had also, every fucking one of you was a KGB. Every one of these people was a KGB apparatchik. Every one of them. Every fucking one of them has beyond proof itself to be a KGB operative. For when it comes to my case, when it concerns me, these are the people who killed me. This was not the Milan Kučan, these were the people who killed me. The people who I'm demonstrating you now. These are the people who did this stuff. These are the people who did it. These people went from a leadership, from liberation of Slovenia into hiding. Posing in the public as the people who are persecuted. All of a sudden, and all of them had a KGB, ex-KGB expertise. They all were members of the KGB, of the UDBA, and so on and so forth. So that I could not even be seen anywhere, absolutely fucking anywhere. So that these were a good side that was persecuted according to Slovenska pravljica. Ne? Slovenska pravljica used these people to demonstrate them as a persecuted people. Ne? And as far as myself, I did not exist because of what the leftists, these people figured out the best way. Janša and Peterle figured out the best way is to just let you, the people that already started this, to continue with this stuff. It would be the best way to do it this way, because they're the most familiarized with your case. So, you know, this is Slovenia. This is Slovenia. Is it elsewhere in Eastern Europe? Anything different? I don't know. All I know is that Central Intelligence Agency CIA assisted them best their abilities with the Federal Bureau of Investigations. They did absolutely everything they possibly could to get me killed. The whole case so that it would, as much as possible, look like a schizophrenia, paranoia. Other than that, I do not know. For the sake of British, with the British, I don't know. I don't even care about how Americans see, what Americans see in Ukraine. I was used in Ukraine through the Russia, through all over the place. The two issues are completely separate. My issue is separate from Ukrainian. This, I am from completely another country, other person. The truth is that Donald Trump is a nobody. That is true. The truth is that Zelensky is nobody. The truth is that all the Ukrainian politicians that are in Ukraine are nobodies. That is true. That is true. That entire their knowledge, everything they have brokered through me, through espionage. That is true. But still, that still doesn't mean that I'm Ukrainian, and that still doesn't mean that one thing is connected to another other than what CIA have done with the Russian KGB. That's all there is to it. That doesn't mean that whatever issue I was involved, they have implicated me through MK Ultra torture, that issue necessarily have something more to do with me other than my beliefs, my views, political orientation, to which every individual on earth has the right to, right? So the sole purpose of these people is ethnic cleansing of the real case. I am the real deal. I'm the real deal. These are apparatchiks, these are people you can pick up from every dumpster, from wherever you go, you pick them up and go, and you can pick them up on kilos. You go on the flea market and you find people and you put them, you wear them, you give them ties, you give them dresses, and off you have another Milan Kuchan or Lojze Peterle or Dmitry Rupel or Donald Trump or Zelensky or Poroshenko or whatever you have, or Putin, etc., etc. That's not who I am. This is not what I am about. Let's go back to this building here. This building, it appears like it was built in a portions, this building. And they go here up front to this area here, to this here. Now you don't even see the ambulance vehicle as you see it. I told you about many buildings were used to replicate this building here. They have used several different buildings to replicate this building here. I was guaranteed, I was claimed that this building was made in parts, and the last part that was added to this building was, let me see if I can, is this part. If you look at, they told me that this building, the way you see it right there, the building was made from different parts of the building. And maintain insisted me that this part of the building is completely separate from other part of the building. Yeah, that this here is the old part of the building. This is the old part of the building, and this here, that this is completely new part of the building. This was the last part of the building that they built, constructed, etc., etc., etc. The issue is such that the issue is such that is a very, very complicated one, because let me demonstrate you. let me introduce you this building. And I'm gonna tell you if it was, what it was, and so on, based on my memory. In Britain, where they would deliver me, there was a building where they had just like the windows the way you see it here, and it would be upper floor, it would be a management, and then you would look down and there would be like different floors that you would look down, and it would be people typing and doing this stuff. It looked like some kind of a newspaper agency or something like that, that somewhat reminded of those windows that you see right here, the stuff that you see here, this stuff here. You see this stuff here that you see here? Yes? Yes. Now, the thing about this building is such that this building here, this stuff that you see here, for this building here in the back, they claimed that this was a Ljubljanska banka, that was a bank inside. That's what they claimed. Gregor Golobic insisted on some kind of loans and stuff like that. Money. The issue is such that we would enter this building, this UDBA location. Oh, I did not tell anything about this stuff, have I? I did not talk to you about this stuff here, what was inside in here. I only told you about how, yeah, I did spoke to you. This video is already long. These are offices. It's all inside parquet. It's like this with the parquet inside. And they're very specific offices. They look structurally very specific. Some of these offices look really like really luxurious when compared to other areas in the back. However, you would have a rather not like this, but this color like this kind of stuff, you know, inside, you know. Inside of this building, they had UDBA people, they have Serbian people inside in here, who posed like they were great friends of Slovenia, that kind of stuff. And they claimed me that inside of this building, it was formed all kinds of stuff, Slovenian resistance. They claim me that on the top of this building, in upper floor, that was a newspaper, Mladina. It's called Mladina also. That was not only one newspaper, but that was all kinds of newspapers that was involved, that they were doing all kinds of stuff, like Slovenian spring stuff that they were designing inside. It was a very pro-Slovenian building. That's what Kučan claimed. That this is the stuff that went on inside in here, and that others did not know about that stuff. That's weird. That's totally weird. I have to say that is fucking crazy. When even Bulgarians knew about this stuff, where I was delivered to the Sofia and stuff like this, and in Belgrade, where I was tortured in a building where they had these officers inside also, military and economists and stuff like this. That's fucking crazy. Milan Kučan was switching between this building and between other buildings which involved top Yugoslav UDBA, Bulgarian also, and so on, and God knows, maybe even Russia, God knows what fucking buildings. And of a great assistance to them were actually British. That's really incredible. I don't know, I really do not know about this here, about this stuff here. I truly do not know about these windows here. See these windows? I don't know. But I think it's original the way it was, and based on this stuff, that this is what they found. This building, we would enter through the back area. Do you see this area here in the back? This area in the back? This is the area where we would go, and well, shit, that is a little bit strange, I have to admit. Let me see just something else here. Yeah, let me see something else here. Why don't we see something else like this from the top? Alright, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go back and a little bit more. Okay, like this. And we're gonna go down here like this. We're gonna do it like that. So yeah, there is actually really nothing that they did claimed. All this stuff they did is really stupid stuff, a lot of lies. Yeah, it's really easy to see through this now. No, everything is the way it used to be. The only thing I would say is that we would enter through this here, through this area here, through this building, right through here, and then also, just as if you look here, this building, they also had entrance past the elevators. Let me demonstrate it this. So you see this building, and I will use this to do this. There is an elevator inside of the building. I never was there by myself. There is an elevator here in the building, and they would also go past the elevator, and they would also go they would also penetrate into the building. Yeah, they would also have that kind of stuff. They would also be doing that kind of stuff. And if you look at it, it's actually not even difficult to go through here inside the building, for which they claimed me, by the way, they claimed me that this building, they certainly did have buildings just that look like this one here, that they had a capacity to also walk, and well, I am not sure about it. I'm not sure about it because I never went inside in here, in this building here. I'm doing this through the Google Maps, literally. They claim me that you could walk through, that you could just walk through. It was like companies below, where I would be tortured in every company. This was a very, very, very heavy torture location, this building. This was probably the most torturous location in Ljubljana, this building. To get to this location, they have to go through this here, through here. They had a security officer always here in Yugoslavia who was here taking care of this. I don't know what to tell you. Based on my memory about, these are the offices that I explained to you about this stuff here. That's all there is to it. You're talking about this is 1, 2, 3. This here, this stuff here, this would be strictly government people, UDBA people inside here. This stuff here, located. Strictly UDBA people would be here. For this stuff right there on the top, I told you, they brainwashed on the top that this was like they were printing the newspaper and stuff like this kind of stuff. And then on other occasion they had me in some kind of also that they had some ladies working inside and there's some textile and stuff like that. God knows how many buildings they have blended into this building here to make me not see the stuff. Well, there is one thing for sure. I don't care about that other stuff that I talk to you about right now. It's about the people that I met inside of this building where I was delivered. Therefore, we are talking about the hardcore Udba people. This building have undergone renovation. They have painted this building. That kind of stuff went on. It did not always look like this, but this is a very old building where I would be delivered already practically as a baby before boarding buses, trains to wherever. So I don't have anything else I would say in respect to this stuff here. Maybe it does have a lot of really bad memories because this was all torture area. I find it interesting. They did not want to talk, the Slovenian side who wanted me to talk about this stuff. They did not want me to talk about this, and there was Mount Everest of torture that went on inside and there in every one of these buildings here. Lynching went on, cardiovascular, sleep deprivation, lynching went inside in there. There's no make no point for me to repeat myself. You just have to read blog. They wanted me to talk about this stuff here. Upon the Slovenian independence, Milan Kučan really wanted to kill me when he found himself here. This was very bad. And this was a heavy Serbian, but also Bosnian, whatever, officers, retired, apparatchiks, military area here where they would torture me. This was the most bestial torture went right here. Since my earliest childhood, they would deliver me here for torture right behind. And also this building here. This was the building, I understand, that was even some kind of a big Slovenian kahuna inside in this building. Whoever that was, I would have to go see this stuff, dedicate more time to this stuff. And this is what they wanted me to talk about. Sometimes in 2003 they deliver me and they spray graffiti building and they want me to talk about this shit here. This, you know, the truth is that this isn't about them. This is about you. I did made it here, but the thing about it is the people who made me do this stuff, I don't think they're gonna like it. The people who did this stuff were not Milan Kučan. The people who did this stuff were the people who allowed Milan Kučan to exist. The people who did this stuff were the people who made sure that Milan Kučan could exist. The people who did this stuff are the people who claim have liberated this country but have refused to prosecute Milan Kučan and his helpers. These are the people who did this. And the people who did this are the people who believe that stuff I'm doing right now is the stuff they're going to benefit from within. This kind of people. And again, I'm going to say, these are all hardcore Udba killers, Udba people in Yugoslavia. It doesn't even matter if they are or not. I'm a different issue. I'm a completely separate issue. And stuff that went on throughout since independence of Slovenia is my guarantee to you that I never ever, regardless of outcome of this case, will recognize Slovenia as a nation, as a independent nation. Slovenia is a concentration camp on open. Slovenia is a nation of the wild dogs, homeless scum, filth, dogs that would love nothing more than to bark their way back to Belgrade. This is a nation of the stray dogs that are craving for their Belgrade masters and believe they will accomplish just what I stated through my case, That's, for me, Slovenia, that's a definition from Slovenia. I'm going to say to you, we are all flesh and blood, but we are definitely not related. We are absolutely not related, and we're never ever going to be related. This is what you did, and this is what you're going to live with. I don't know if this is what you wanted, but this is how it all ended. This was just a heavy torture area. This was the building that nobody even want to take because of the torture that went on, and so it was Milan Kučan all relieved that he would take this building over, and so the people whom he nested inside of this building, the people who pledged some kind of attorneys that he threw inside, were the people that pledged oath to Milan Kučan. So easy job for Milan Kučan, basically. They make it really easy for Milan Kučan. Milan Kučan became the first Slovenian president. There was this guy, Ivo Kramberger. They assassinated, killed him, shoot him, and the question is, because this Ivo Kramberger was a UDBA individual, this was a KGB individual, based on my memory he was. It's also questionable who this guy was, what went on, but the Slovenian fable is such that it's not a problem because they killed Kennedy in America too. This is what I was explained. So why would we not do this in Slovenia? It's a normal thing. Certainly that these people here that you see have done absolutely nothing than to defend their rights. And these people became defenders of their own rights. Therefore, Milan Kučan's opposition became the strongest defender of their rights right when I was dumped into the psychiatric hospital in 2012. So they absolutely did everything possible they possibly could for me not to be absolutely seen in absolutely any way. Many of them have committed themselves to the theft, to the stealing. Can you imagine? The role models for the new Slovenia started to get involved in economic crime, stealing things, doing illegal stuff. Why, if they love Slovenia so much, it was all for the love of Slovenia and so on and so forth. Why would you do this for? And all of them were a previous UDBA KGB killers. This was a police officer, a Yugoslav police officer, registered. This one was a diplomat. This was a man who studied in United States of America and in Germany. For you to study in United States of America or in Germany during Yugoslavia, you had to be a top dog, top UDBA killer, top KGB killer to get that kind of clearance certificate. This one remained invisible, but was sworn Tito supporter, this individual, not even too far from Novo Mesto. All involved in my case since childhood. From this one here, you can still see his UDBA document right there, which he rationalized him, but this was a normal thing. Everybody was in UDBA and so on. Yeah, of course, also my family was. Yes, of course it was. Of course it was. But what this got to do with the reality? What the reality of my parents and my family that were communist members has to do with my situation of today? What exactly is likely? I was never in a communist party, and the communist party was not even about the communism. These people today in 2025, and I was born in 1971 on December. I'm 53 years old. These people even in 2025 are about nothing else than killing, ethnic cleansing, psychiatry. It's 2025, update. And we are far from Russia, long time from Soviet Union. Since 1990, this country has been 35 years away from Serbs from Yugoslavia or from the Soviet Union, became part of NATO and European Union. Update your Slovenian lives. Update. Nation of the stray dogs which craves after their Belgrade masters and just don't know how to find their way back. And so they continue to use me. With European Union commissioners, London doing their best to assist them on every step of the way. And this is not my business. People can do whatever they want to do. Like I said, we're not related to one another. That's why they deliver me through this gate, inside, torture. They tortured in these buildings. What can I tell you about this stuff? This is what they claim it was a bank, Ljubljanska banka, whatever they claim that it was, a financial institution. Some offices up front look like a normal offices you would go to. You get to the elevator area, you could enter past elevator area also into the building from behind. The identical system was used as it applied to the So they designed this building to be the last location for which Milan Kučan claimed and insisted that this is going to zip my throat for sure, definitely, de facto, to simply... I think they did change the name, Trgo-Osvobodilne Fronte, to 13 for their location in a newly independent state, the office of the Special Prosecutor, Office of Department for Prosecution in an investigation of officials with special authorizations. Not too far, right next to it, if you look at it, just a block away is Radio Television Slovenia. You see it? Directions. You see it? 3 minutes. 3 minutes with the car. You go with the car, it's 3 minutes. If you go walking, it's 6 minutes. It's 450 meters, 550 yards. See it? RTV Slovenia. This is where I was delivered with Josip Broz Tito frequently. With Serbian also. Serbs would come here. Slovenian UDBA had me here all the time. Josip Broz Tito would come. Josip Broz Tito would come, would stop coming here. He came here, he started to fear that he would be video recorded because of me. So, you understand? He didn't want to be on the picture with me anymore. This is a Tanja Fajon. This is where her mother used to work, right here. That was to be designated as my wife. Tanja Fajon, mother, worked in office here. This is a radio. This is a radio station. Radio Slovenia. And this is also with the TV Slovenia, Radio Televizija Slovenia with the TV. National, the main national channel, a regular UDBA channel, And this is where I would also go visit her mom, to this area here. And they figure out they would use me to get a promotion at work. She used to work at the earlier time somewhere here like this, at the more at the front of the building. And we're talking about something like this. And later on they promoted her and she climbed toward the back of the building. This appeared was a secretary with a university degree, very educated, appeared as a secretary inside, from what I recall, her office and her inside. I remember when I would come with Tanya to visit mom. Honestly, I do not know when was it that she was transferred to the right across the street, because these people would not want me to remember anything. They would have her mom, Tanya, and so on come back here and do the play. But it's very possible that she was transferred to this location here, sometimes maybe in the 4th grade of the grammar school, sometimes in 1982, I would say. Yeah. So this is what this is. I am 70 kilometers from Ljubljana. I am not from Ljubljana. 75 kilometers from here I am. And I never went to Ljubljana. I had no business to do in Ljubljana. You understand? Everything I'm talking to you about is MK Ultra. Ljubljana is 75 kilometers away from Novo Mesto. There was no time to travel to Ljubljana, and I had nothing to do in Ljubljana anyways. These buildings were yet another torture building. Say they were all buildings were torture buildings. So Josip Broz Tito would come to this building here. This was the entrance to the building that Milan Kučan was using. He was using either this entrance or he was using that entrance. Whatever entrance you would use, you had a capacity to go to the front of the building. And the front of the building was accessible through the roof, through the upper area, through the roof. Or it was also accessible through the rooms, through the apartment buildings, which Milan Kučan make sure that Robert Golob, Borut Pahor would have keys from one apartment to the other. You could just walk from one apartment to the other and you would find yourself all of a sudden right in the front of the building at Radio Slovenia. This, however, are private apartments here. This is how they camouflage themselves, you know. It's private. Those are private apartments and so on and so forth. There was also elevator here somewhere in the middle here, and the same thing. They had various ways to get through, and they were doing this stuff so the people would get used to them. Yeah, so if there was a national emergency, as it was, nobody would figure out that you have a big kahunas in the building. They were preparing themselves for the worst, and this is how they did this stuff. In the back of this building are apartments, from what I recall. This is apartment area, and this here is from RTV Slovenia area. Stuff that you see here. RTV radio, whatever. Radio stuff. If we go up here, then it looks like this. This is what the building looks like. I remember Josip Broz Tito, who knew about the bestiality that was done on me. This bastard knew everything about what they were doing to me and started to suggest me that these are the people, however, who will save me, this here. And there was something, I don't know what it was, that had to do with the human rights, whatever. They designated that would become, maybe even from United Nations and so on, they started to hallucinate about it, that they would create this for UN, for the human rights kind of stuff, blah, blah, blah. Still under Josip Broz Tito. and they started to torture me in this area here, claiming me that this is where you're safe. This is where this is dangerous. Yeah, it was like this. That's dangerous. They told me that's dangerous. And so let me demonstrate you. The main torture went here in this area, in this building. When it pertains to the Radio Televizija Slovenia, this stuff. And they were gonna say, oh, but this is not Radio Televizija Slovenia. Of course, it was under your jurisdiction, all this stuff. This was the torture that went on through here, all this stuff here. The main thing, however, was right at the end of this building where there were offices. If you go here, you're gonna see what I'm gonna mark with a blue color. This was the, that's wrong. I'm gonna do it like that. This here, this was the deal here, this stuff here. This kind of stuff. This stuff here. This used to be, it appeared to me like some kind of, I don't know, but they had a lot of cars coming in and out and so on and back and forth. Like a loading dock, whatever. Obviously related to the media stuff. This was like some kind of, they later turned this like into the private factory facility, wherever. But this here, this stuff here, this stuff here, this was this shit was always here. This is where they had stuff in this building. Also, what is red? They tortured here inside of this building. There was something is saying to me that there was construction that went on here, but the thing about it is I don't really see it. This here, when I was in these buildings, they also had some kind of independent engineers toward the end of Yugoslavia inside. But here, this was offices, from what I recall. This whole red and blue, this stuff, this is all torture. The least torture that went on in this yellow portion of the building. Actually, this whole fucking thing was nothing other than torture, basically. This is Gregor Golobic, Robert Golob. This was just basically lynching. That's all there was. And then they were creating the war with the human rights with this area here, for which they claimed, they insisted that this is very dangerous for them. They were making anxiety that this is like a panicking stuff, like that this is let me see, what is this shit here? This is for the insurance and so on. They camouflaged absolutely everything they had inside in there. This is like extremely important part here. This was the biggest torture that went on here in this place here. This, I don't know which one was the biggest, because they all did their best to get me killed. It's cardiovascular trauma-based torture. That's what this shit was all about. I would oftentimes found myself tortured at the local UKC, University Clinic Ljubljana, and next to the University Clinic Ljubljana was a trauma center where they would also deliver me for examinations. I was practically listed for lobotomy procedure already. I mean, you couldn't fucking make this shit up. I mean, this shit was as violent as anything it possibly was. Talking about the lobotomy and that kind of stuff, we're gonna talk about the Novo Mesto police station, Novo Mesto court, Novo Mesto state prosecutor, office, moving from Ljubljana to Novo Mesto. Would be to this building here, where apparently Sonia Breznik operates. I was at her office. I was in office of all of these women here. I was tortured inside of this building in front of this woman. Basically, I was guaranteed that if I come here to this building, this is what the Stefanic investigated. He is mentioned in this complaint. Andrei Stefanic is mentioned in this complaint. He's mentioned in this complaint. He is mentioned. He interrogated entire court, absolutely everything, including the Zavod za prestajanje kazni Ljubljana. That's what psychiatrist Peter Kapsch was extremely enthusiastic, became completely taken over with a prison institution which supposedly came from Ljubljana to Novo Mesto in 2008. And they guarantee me that this would be where I would serve the prison sentence. So going from Ljubljana to Novo Mesto, this would be this state prosecutor office. Then a court. It's interesting because you don't get to see the jail, you don't get to see the prison. They don't say anything about it. It's called a district justice, yes. And then you have a state prosecutor here, and you don't see anything about the prison, right? You don't see anything about the prison. Zapor Novo Mesto. That's quite crazy, nah? Why the fuck they don't show this here? No? Andrei Stefanic, against whom I have filed complaint, he interrogated absolutely every official, including the employees at prison ward at this court. No, let's see. It looks extremely shitty, no? You cannot see much from this here. I don't know why the hell does it look so pale, but everything looks so pale that you can barely see anything. So I am forced to plug in Google map like this so that you can see it. This is a prison here. This here. This is what Andrei Stefanic, Nurse Janko, Robert Golob, Gregor Golobic, Milan Kuchan, they, together with the Novo Mesto police officers, in a parenthesis, police, criminals from Novo Mesto police station that interacted with me all along, or week prior to it, to the October the 30th, and on that same week, and many other criminals who participated, and I did not even mention here, in this case, from Novo Mesto police station, investigation department from the so-called investigation, yeah? It's investigation from Novo Mesto police station. They were really thrilled about dumping me inside in there. So the stuff I was talking to you about a little bit earlier at the beginning of this video, when I talked to you about how they designed entire system based on the letter that they sent me, was designed in such a way that when I would appear at a local district, and this is insane, this stuff is incredible. I mean, it's truly incredible that you would send a letter like this to somebody, completely disregarding audio evidence. It's audio evidence, just basically continuing from the year 2012 with the writing that had absolutely nothing to do with the reality. Novo Mesto police, Andrei Stefanic you can see on his recording, he insists, together with Napenchnik, who came from Ljubljana, at this Novo Mesto police station. They insist me, this took place on October the 29th. Was the meeting between Andrej Štefanić and Tomaž Napenchnik, between us. The two insisted, you can see the name, Andrej Štefanić, Tomaž Napenchnik, and you can see the date here. You can also see the date. Right here is the date. Up. It's already a little bit long, this video. This here is the date. It's a front page. They insist that they claim that to me during the meeting, they claim me, well, they ask me if I want to sign the document. If I want to sign the document. And based on MK Ultra brainwash, because of my fragile health, they were making fun of my fragile health, claiming me that we will see if you will even make it to this meeting. Trust me, it's challenging when you have a problem with the kidney, with the liver, is challenging stuff. And I have other problems too. Literally, I go sleep with a bottle of water so that I rinse kidneys every here and there during the sleep. If I get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, the Americans told me it's not going to be even equal to 2 hours of sleep with your problems, health problems, That's how you stay alive, basically, with this kind of stuff. They insisted me that during MK Ultra, they insisted me that to brainwash me anywhere. They death threatened me. They threatened me with violence. Based on MK Ultra, I would easily have violent conflict with these individuals. I did not explain anything about yet. I did explain about the stuff. I posted on a blog about what went on with these people during MK Ultra. And the two brainwashed during MK Ultra that I should never ever sign the paper, that I should never ever sign the paperwork. And in fact, the guy from Ljubljana, Napenchnik, his name, Tomaž Napenchnik, insisted that I will have to come to the police station and complain before he's gonna send his report to my home about this meeting with us, because the whole thing is gonna be a lie. The two insisted during MK Ultra, maintained that I should never sign the document on October the 29th. We became October the 29th, once this meeting came to realization, because, Andrej Štefanić, assistant, obviously, of the Novo Mesto police station, Igor Juršić, director against whom I filed the complaint, as well as against the entire police station, told me that he is in no capacity to investigate police station as part of the administration, and therefore the only other step left for me to take would be to go to the court, to the Novo Mesto court, actually not to the Novo Mesto court, but to the district prosecutor, to this office for which I demonstrated you about Sonia Breznik, right? Send me the letter after I complained also at later stage to Slovenian institutions. We're gonna get to that stuff. You will understand. So let me repeat this stuff again. So to make this, I didn't explain this properly. The two maintained claim, thanks God it's still recording this stuff. The two maintained claim that during MK Ultra that I should under no circumstances sign the what they would offer me as agreement. And fact of the matter is that I did not sign any kind of agreement. It is evident then October the 29th, I have rejected everything that Andrei Stefanic have stated during our meeting. I have acknowledged absolutely everything that he stated as a lie. Everything he stated was a lie. The two police officers during the initial meeting, which took place on it was on 7/19/2024 between Pevec and Jaka Recelj. The two police officers were involved in violence based on MK Ultra scenario. He obviously did not investigate anything. There were cameras in there, and those cameras clearly should indicate exactly what I reported, and that's basically extremely aggressive approach toward me by police officer Pevec, who was looking forward to having a physical confrontation with me together with Jaka Recelj. That was an incident. So whatever Andrei Stefanic stated on October the 29th, I have told Stefanic everything that you investigated simply is a lie. I don't agree with absolutely anything you stated. But because he stated that he was in no further capacity in front of his colleague, which came from Ljubljana, his name is Tomasz Napenčnik, and because he stated that there is nothing, absolutely nothing they can do about for me anymore, any further, but the only place where I can go to continue from here on against police would be a district state prosecutor, I was forced to sign the paperwork. But because I signed it, that doesn't mean that I agree with it. It only means that I was left with absolutely no other choice, that they did the report, just as Stefanic have stated. It's the report you're going to sign, we're going to give you this report, and you can go to the local, to the district prosecutor. Yes? Under MK Ultra, the two, however, insisted that once you're going to sign, that you should not sign, and so on and so forth. Well, in this kind of situation, you don't have anything else other than you would sign. Based on MK Ultra, about the stuff that Stefanic did and Napenčnik were involved in, however, and the way they ran the investigation procedure, however, I do have the right, when they tell you that you don't have anything else that you can complain to, you sign. And once you sign, they give you a report, and that's when you have the right to come back to the police station like I did and file the criminal report against the two criminals, obviously. Therefore, against Andrei Stefanic and Tomasz Napenčnik. And that's exactly what I did. And this is when I got to meet Miran Sudin. Just like a little brief story about it. So it went from one lie to another, and during these lies, police officers did not know anything about what MK Ultra is. It was at least 5 occasions on which I have in detail explained to police officers what MK Ultra is during our meetings, including and especially during the meeting with Jaka Recelj, the first time. July 19 was the first time, 2024, when I explained him in person, and it's also audio recording. The recording is right there. I supplemented with the audio recording supplied with that. You can listen to the audio recording, extremely diplomatic, just as anybody would go about his complaint if he was a normal person. Actually, extremely intelligent. That's how you would go. They maintained they did not know nothing about what MK Ultra is, and they also maintained that we never met with one another. Something that I disputed also in my blog, describing these people in list of crimes that were involved, and also demonstrated knowledge about their private life, about their families, and so on. So none of that stuff was considered absolutely none of that stuff was considered, and it became evident that all along the only thing that they were doing, these people, was exactly identical procedure as to the one the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, with Slovenian state prosecutors, Novo Mesto police. Therefore, these people, the same people, commenced in 2012. Actually, they commenced that already before, because we did have other disputes already before. Just like I mentioned to Miran Sudin, in 2007, assassination attempt took place against me. It was not successful. I survived. I paid for the parts for the broken car. And those parts never ever arrived to Slovenia. Police station Novo Mesto refused to investigate the car theft. They claimed that they kept me informed about it, that I was that everything looks good, that everything is going to be okay. And after the more time went on, the less they wanted to know. They didn't call me back anymore. They didn't keep me informed about what goes on, what went on. They gave promises. The promises delivered nothing. And till I actually filed a complaint against them. That was in 2007 for obviously harboring crime. Obviously, they were not out there to help me. And the theft was about worth maybe 450 euros or 550 euros. I don't know, dollars or euros. Very expensive parts, stolen. Everything was stolen through the Slovenian police, which launched a case against me. I complained against them and have won the case, a criminal case against them at the state senate in Novo Mesto for disrespecting me, for basically not even performing their job according to their duties, according to official law. They lost the case at their own Novo Mesto police station. Yes, Miran Sudin was told all these things. He was told about all this stuff on October the 30th of 2025. He was told about this stuff. And so these are all the same people who continue to do the same thing since my childhood, basically. You understand? So you have no police, no prosecutors, no shit, no courts, no absolutely nothing. What went on when I was thrown inside of the psychiatric hospital, I would rather not even go into it. But it was judges that would not allow me to even open my mouth. Judges with state attorneys and with defense attorneys that were involved together with the psychiatric staff, physicians, psychiatrists included from Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje, Novo Mesto police, from this court, from this district court, in torture, for which they insisted me if I would even open my mouth during any of the trials, I will be immediately thrown back into the psychiatric hospital. Welcome back to Novo Mesto. In Novo Mesto, they designed the future justice process based on the paperwork which Andrej Štefanič and Tomaž Napenčnik from Ljubljana supplied me with on October the 29th, 2024. They gave me the, just as mentioned here, not described, mentioned. They gave me a scenario based on which if I would go on court, Novo Mesto court, to file the charges against the police, the scenario was designed based on their own promises that as soon as you go to the court and you file the charges against them, the only thing that will be interested in a judge from the district court will be to confiscate your audio tapes because you had no right to record. Parallel to this crime, it was another mega crime that ran on, another mega torture crime that ran on since my childhood, in which Home for Elderly People was involved from Novo Mesto, and where they started to actively torture my father since 1995. Milan Kučan found as the reason for the hospitalization of the father, my departure to United States of America, for which Kuchan claimed that father was the guilty the one, because of whom I left to United States of America. So it was therefore necessary to throw him at the home for elderly people and use him obviously for the torture purposes. Milan Kuchan on one side pointed out that my father was the one who screwed me up, and on the other side he pointed to the father, I'm the one who goes after the father. So these people worked all along in a way to create a stressful crisis situations together with their American, European partners, basically their Central Intelligence Agency, FBI, European Commission, Brussels, Strasbourg apparatus, European Court for Human Rights apparatus, European Ombudsman apparatus, to increase more and more and more tension so that they would create really big problem inside of the family, which they somehow did not manage to accomplish. But the torture started to become more and more extensive of my father. They keep him each time for longer and longer time inside of the home for elderly people during the torture, where I already explained they would literally stuff that was done to me. I already explained that was beyond bestial stuff they were doing. The type of torture I already explained. Tied to the bed, and it was not a bed, it was a bed without the mattress. It was plain, sometimes even plain wood, but mainly they used a bed, a type of bedding which was totally equal to the hard leather surface, so that I would be in unbearable pain, and I would go lying down in that for extensive period of time without even getting any kind of liquid. Dehydration process through nasal openings. They would push down my throat tubes, with which they would scratch the throat and stuff like this, creating unbearable pain. This is what went on inside of the home for elderly people, where torture commenced already since my childhood. Next to the home for elderly people is a facility for mentally disabled, I think, youth, children, and this is where they wanted to get me into since I was a child. Nothing changed upon Slovenian independence. Obviously in 91 this shit went on, and they threw my father, through making him blind literally, through a retina, through macula, through giving him a stroke just after I left to file for political asylum in 2018 again to Slovakia. They threw my father on, delivered him to Ljubljana and performed a surgery on him due to stroke that he had. Claimed that they saved him. However, this stroke scenario is the scenario that goes back to the stroke scenario goes also back to 96, 97, the same thing. This is what they designed, basically exactly according to the program, the way they designed for the father. So father had a really problem. He really had a reason to fear me. Unfortunately, his fear for his life was much greater than the one of assisting me with my claims. My father was afraid not of the Slovenian people, but he was afraid of the people that were visiting our house. Those were George Bush, Bill Clinton, Prince Charles, now King Charles, Angela Merkel, and all of you other politicians that were visiting. I would refer to you as see nothing, hear nothing, know nothing, kill a lot, support a lot, do everything you possibly can to get us killed. all under NATO, all under European Union, not Soviet Union, not Yugoslavia, but you. But you said you're going to disband European Union, you're going to disband even NATO, is what you threatened with during MK Ultra. So that also should not be a problem. So I think those are the things already, your public conduct about these issues, that talk mountains about who you really are. And whether this case is real or not. The plan to give the father stroke, I cannot give exactly that it was designed to give my father stroke, but the plan to get my father inside of the home for elderly people was designed by the Milan Kuchan together with old Novo Mesto police director who would come to our house from Šentjernej. He is fishing with the father and so on. When I was maybe in 1980, is what these people wanted to kill me. And they figured out that the best way, the biggest way to get people killed, the way they killed most of the people, was by setting them up with their parents inside of the homes for elderly people, basically on a cameras, video recording them, and then get them through the prison system, destroy them. That was in 1980. That is 45 years ago. That's a big, substantial case tied to the home for elderly people and General Hospital Novo Mesto, who also engaged in this stuff. I did spoke about torture at General Hospital Novo Mesto, about the stuff that went on. These are the people who also supervised the torture, my torture done on me, and torture done on the father at home for elderly people. I don't know if that they had in plan to give my father stroke to do these things, but my father had a specific job to be violent with me. And whenever I was delivered to the home for elderly people, there was the most severe torture that would take place in a form of depicting my father. He depicted himself as such, as an evil person out there to simply cause me deliberately a problems, fight, and with nothing other than problems, fight with the medical personnel, with the staff from Home for Elderly People. They were using him to get some kind of violent reaction from me, for me to do something violently. And finally, as they have also broken my spine, creating a very severe case of the hernia, which Natasha Pirc-Musar was laughing in my face in 2018, in 2019, when they broke my spine in Poland, that I couldn't even walk. She stated to me, the only way to fix your spine is to attach the cables to your hips. Your spine will be broken for life now. Haha. She's a Slovenian president. The way they designed this system was done in such a way so that if they would not get a violent reaction from me against father, if somehow would return as it did, that I even went ahead and rescued my spine to rehabilitate my father based on brainwash. The police did. They demonstrated me how to lift the father and make one walk, that moving is extremely important. And father was also faking during MK Ultra that he cannot stand up and that kind of stuff. That's what they were playing with. And father was not faking, because Novo Mesto police officers who were doing this kind of stuff with the father, they caused, also Nurse Janko, they caused to my father heart attacks. They caused him cardiovascular problems to the degree that he almost on several occasions died. because every time when I came, I took time to slowly rehabilitate my father, to slowly put him on his feet. But the way they did is they treated him like an animal. And they started to develop in him, just like they were doing on me, various problems, including the one with the spine, including the one with the, they were playing with the pillows, including the one with a heart, especially. I had to protect myself video recording, audio recording in a facility where I was tortured my entire life by the staff who in a large matter was still employed there, and for which Andrej Štefanić and Napenčnik and Novo Mesto Police with the Igor Juršić director, whom I have not mentioned, was one of the most important with the Janez Ogulin, believed that just like this they would issue me an order to have the evidence removed. Oh, there's enormous evidence about home for elderly people, well, what went on. Very, very important for me to video record the sessions that I spent with the father, doing my best to help him out, not contrary to what police believe would depict the whole thing as abuse. Next to the torture at home for elderly people, Nurse Janko, another nurse, they were doing absolutely everything possible to demonstrate me how to improperly treat my father with the Novo Mesto police investigators. All kinds of stuff went on. That recording, video recording, dealing with these people who are involved in this stuff, I can say that if I would not do this stuff, I would probably be in prison today. They tried and tried and tried and absolutely tried everything they possibly could try to fuck me. They had in program for my visits to the father to depict me as somebody who is visiting father to torture him. See, when you try to help an old person like this, it can be also misinterpreted as a form of attacking person, torturing person, causing person problems and so on. And father was also really, really, really good at helping the assisting police with that kind of stuff. This is what they did. This is what they made out of it. So those are the preliminary steps, that minimum steps that I'm glad, really glad I have taken to protect my life. Finally, they figured out that if nothing is going to work, they would prohibit me from visiting my father. They were playing with the viruses, just as I explained on my blog, all that stuff. And so police wanted to stop all that. They wanted to do it their own way, and through the district court, through the court, this was just a way to do it. Now, if I was going to go and complain against Sonja Breznik at local court, at a local district prosecutor office in Novo Mesto, the one that I demonstrated you already know now what that is, that prison that I named one, where the police station used to be inside in there. Let me demonstrate you this anyways. If I was to go, so this is a new police station they built. I already described all that stuff. If I was to go, this is court, right? This is a court in Novo Mesto, and this is an ex-police station, the prison where they would torture me also inside. If I was to go and file the complaint against Sonja Breznik, see this here? The one who sent me the letter, the one who designated Sonja Breznik was the person from Ljubljana. In Ljubljana office I already have described to you. I did describe to you the Ljubljana office. No? I did talk to you about that stuff, about Ljubljana office. I did describe that to you in details. They promised me that if I would go and complain against her, all these people involved in my case from Ljubljana were inside of our house repeatedly. They would, as soon as I would get here, they would try to create the incident and would summon the police. They promised me I would get imprisoned if I would appear here and file complaint against Breznik. Police would rush right from this building. This is what they did during MK Ultra. They rehearsed that stuff and guaranteed me that's where you would go. You would be taken right into the prison facility next door, which I demonstrated you as a zavod za prestajanje kazni. I demonstrated that as a zavod za prestajanje kazni, Ljubljana. That's based in that same building right here in the back. This year, 2008, they started to play with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So to go and to complain, to go to that office where I was told that it's only ladies, there is one man, they told me, it's going to result in immediately police call here and me getting arrested and thrown out. Well, that would definitely not be a difficult thing to do, because the so-called Slovenian state continued to build mountains of lies without absolutely anybody getting involved, interrupting this Slovenian extermination camp on open party. They don't have any kind of problem with this kind of stuff. Easy thing to do when you pile lie and lie and lie and the person doesn't have no place to complain, nothing to talk. There is only the paperwork that from the state people that remains. It's not even a difficult thing to do. So to go to complain against Sonja Breznik would be a bad thing. The gangster from Ljubljana, from this office here, the criminal from Ljubljana, from the heads of this office here, and he was not even a head, he was from this department. He should have been the head by then, but I don't know if it became or not. But this was the guy who was involved in this stuff. Blonde guy, 190 centimeters tall. He maintained that if you will somehow send us a letter, send us complaint about her, we will arrange the meeting in a Novo Mesto with you. It will be a stuff, there will be complaint, but the same thing is going to happen as it happened with this letter. We will get you hospitalized if you will do this. Yes, from here, from this place, if I would go and complain to them about this stuff, they were resolute, they were determined that they would get me an ambulance vehicle in the same way as to what Miran Sudin did at Novo Mesto police station. So, obviously that whoever got this letter at a special state prosecutor, Department for Investigation and Prosecution of Officials with special authorizations, he did make sure that it would be exactly the woman who participated in MK Ultra that would handle this case. And this is the woman who have written on this paper in Slovenian the report, which any English person can only copy paste in the Google, and you will get exact translation in English language, just as I was told that's going to be. This entire paperwork that you see here was already demonstrated to me beginning 2011, 2012. Everything written over there is now, finally I get in 2025. Now, let's do a little bit about the history, and before I go to the history of the state prosecutor, district court and district state Slovenian prosecutor, let's do a little bit of the history on this crime. Something that I started earlier, or I didn't know, I don't really know. There is just so much stuff that I have gone through. This is already 3-hour long video. This crime, I already mentioned to you, started against me in with Milan Kučan, Robert Golob, Gregor Golobic, in front of the court here in Novo Mesto, the one I demonstrated you, behind this district attorney, in 1979, 1978, it doesn't matter, child I was, walking in front of the court. Let me demonstrate you what that looked like. Let me demonstrate you what exactly that looked like. They tortured all these people here that you see, everything, all the residences, everyone was involved in torture, everything, everybody. Everybody knew about this case. This is Yugoslavia, this is Slovenia. This is what this looks like. Yeah? Promised me death. Milan Kucan, Serbs, they promised me death. I was extremely inconvenient. I was the youngest prisoner, definitely, ever. And were preparing themselves to get me killed at whatever costs. However, there were some European initiative changes that they implemented, which Yugoslavia also had to obey in 1986. There was some kind of office that appeared. It didn't have any kind of effect on me still. And they were really waiting for me to be at least 14 years of age. And they already had some kind of MK Ultra crimes they built on me that they're gonna kill me. I did mention to you Ljubljana, even lobotomy they contemplated on. Contemplating how they're gonna kill me. And Milosevic was a good visitor of Novo Mesto with other Serbs, top Serbians from Belgrade. They would come, were extremely expressing a very high interest in this case together with Milan Kucan. They would start to drill me for the prison sentence, for through the prison, to destroy me completely. Yes, there was some involvement of these European institutions in this stuff. They wanted to get me killed in as soon as I finished the school. It was just really, they were eager for me to finish at least anything, any kind of education, grammar school and so on, and then it was for maintenance mechanic program, but I continued again for mechanical engineering technician. And in between, it just happened so that Yugoslavia had fallen apart. It was finished, and Serbs lost their grip on me. I don't know what institution was in 1986 that they already handled my case. There was some kind of institution here, Yugoslav institution in Yugoslavia, that they already had the whole, they prepared the system to destroy me. Milan Kucan will explain more about what he had in 1986 going on with Milosevic that was preparing to get me killed. All these buildings, all these neighbors, everything, absolutely everything participated in this MK Ultra. Everything was involved in torture. Everybody saw it, everybody knew it. Nobody sees, nobody know anything. This is what we have going on. So we are very different people. We are very different people. Very different people. Very different people. Either way you look, this is not what I am. These people have never seen me as part of them. They see me as something completely different. They maintain extermination, genocide procedure, and so you know, if you will maintain this type of stuff, then I have to also start to maintain my stuff. Then I have to, in order to protect myself, I do have to distance myself as much as possible and condemn you for every crime you did against me, basically. Because you aren't here to resolve the things, you're just here to observe, watch this, and based on my example, then integrate back to Yugoslavia and so on. basically use me for all kinds of diplomatic spats and so on, so that you can, I'm not going to say urge the people, but so that you can all go and convince one another whatever is and is not best for you. So this case, just like other cases I suggested you earlier, Milan Kučan, for this Graben breach stuff, was planned against me as one of the earliest cases. Was the legal case, was the earliest stuff. Not as early as Graben breach, but they contemplated on getting me destroyed to this stuff at whatever costs. Now, Sonia Breznik, based on the brainwash, designed this complaint in such a way so that I would go with this complaint instead to this court, have a 30 days time based on the way they designed the crime. Milan Kučan in between got extremely disappointed because Milan Kučan counted first on 7-day period as the ability to complain, to file the complaint at the court. Then Milan Kučan got in Slovenian state, duly established Slovenian state, a big humiliation, which suggested it would even give me 14 days time to complain against Sonia Breznik, future Sonia Breznik, whoever would handle my case. So that means that the stuff that we are talking about, just based on this stuff here, you see, Milan Kučan always counted on this department, which before this department even existed, did not exist in Yugoslavia, right? Milan Kučan counted on might not even having enough time to respond to with a complaint to this to Sonia Breznik findings, right? These are not findings, it's just what I acknowledge it is in this letter. So another bigger blow was delivered to the Milan Kučan when this 14 days would even extended to the 30 days. And this stuff was all timed. You see, today, if you look at it, it's called the May 1st. Today is the Thursday. I remember when Milan Kučan had a big problem with this stuff, when he had 14 days, when it was 7 days and then it was 14 days, and he had Andrej Štefanić interrogate court officials, secretaries and so on, that when you would call and find out about the holidays, first May holidays, Milan Kučan counted this to be delivered in such a way. This was delivered on 11 of April, but I signed it in 20 April. And then you have 30 days from your signature to respond to this complaint. This was done in such a way, this stuff, that based on the original scenario, because of this May holidays, which court officials do not work, and I did call and verify that because I wanted to have everything audio recorded, all this evidence. Yes, of course it's 30 days, but I remember Kučan and Štefanić and all these people that were worried about my even having the right to enough time to complain to the court. And they hoped for that this would result in such a way. Milan Kučan demanded this Milan Kučan will explain, together with the Robert Golob, with the Golobic, they are going to explain that this was to be delivered in such a way that today is first and second, that this will be delivered in such a way 14 days prior to Sunday. This will be delivered in such a way that practically this is 1 week. This is Monday, and you have here, you have where the hell is Monday? Yeah, it's here, it's Monday. Wait a minute, this would be the Saturday, Sunday. This will be delivered in such a way that this should actually come based on what Milan Kučan demanded during Anke Ultra on Monday, April the 25th. That's what Milan Kučan demanded to be delivered. So that Thursday and Friday, which are holiday here in Slovenia, May 1st and May 2nd, would go further with the Saturday and Sunday and would cut me several days before, and I would not even. This is the fucking evil pertaining to this complaint, because what I'm doing right now is also investigation. This is the description of the crime that went on. This is the way it went on. And yes, it was delivered to me like this in such a way that I could possibly not miss issue of May holidays and so on. Milan Kuchan actually studied which time of the year would be best to deliver me this letter to fuck me, so that I would not have time to even complain to the court about this stuff. What happened at the court based on MK Ultra? At the court based on MK Ultra were two judges. So we are talking about this court here. Let's say that I did go and I did complain to the Novo Mesto court, district court. There were two judges, one older judge who was involved in this, who claimed, maintained that playing with my sanity during MK Ultra, imitation of the schizophrenia, which is MK Ultra. Second word for MK Ultra is a trauma. Trauma is MK Ultra. Trauma. Insisted together with criminals from Novo Mesto police station in our house, which became a terror camp for these people, that I would simply keep my mouth shut in the same way as to what was done with during the psychiatric hospitalizations, or I would be destroyed. Inside of the court in Novo Mesto, where I would be in this courtroom, they had a police officer right next to me, a warden, whatever that was, and anything that you would not comply with whatever he had to say, if it's a silence, it's a silence, you would be simply grabbed and taken to the jail. Simple as this. Dismissed, that kind of stuff. Demanded from me the audio recordings and the letter from Sonia demanded from me to be silent, that he would consider the case, and if he would come to the findings that this is what he would favor me. This was the blah blah blah. This was all the judge, black hair, retired already. It became clear to everybody that this man in 2015 is not going to be there no more, will eventually be retired. He was using a younger judge. They started with this schizophrenia already in 2005, talking about the court also. The younger judge, lighter hair, taller guy, however completely sided with the police. There's basically no place for audio recordings, that kind of stuff. Maintained also issue about asking me about whether I have audio recordings and stuff like this, searching me, literally during a session, court session, confiscated whatever they gave me during MK Ultra to have with me inside of the courtroom, jail me, throw me out, psychiatry and so on. This pretty much is the stuff that went on that supposedly would be pertaining to my complaint, to this complaint here. However, it would give me, it would favor the police against me, demand from me to take down all the audio recordings, something that Home for Elderly People employees who were involved in this here were very happy about it. Demanded from me to take down absolutely everything in respect to Home for Elderly People, police, yeah, this is what they demanded, or have my website shut down. This was the district court. This was the recommendation of the Stefanic through the district state prosecutor. This is the road they designed, but that would give me also the chance to take the complaint further to the Supreme Court in Ljubljana. in the Supreme Court in Ljubljana, this is what everything magically happened. And what is it exactly that happened? What exactly is it that happened in Supreme Court in Ljubljana? Well, this is basically everything where, you know, they find everything about, you know, the stuff that this was true and blah, 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 blah. That's what I call schizophrenia. Because we are very different people, remember. And law does not provide for your crime, and I excuse one even less. I don't even see myself as a Slovenian. That's what happens in Novo Mesto, not even in Ljubljana. That's why I am asking whether you are from ICC or European Commission or United Nations or US Justice Department of State or wherever you are, to first consider this video. Then after this video, that you consider the stuff, the proofs that I will submit to you, also that I'm also submitting to you in forms of answers to this lady Breznik here. Something that had, thanks to you, practically nothing to do with the reality, and that you allow to go on for the sake of your British masters from London. I'm asking you to stop it. And I'm not asking you to stop it, I am asking you to establish a criminal case on my behalf against Slovenian state. That's what I'm asking you for. This is not how the courts function. This is not how the justice functions. This is not I. This has nothing to do really with me other than what I stated in this video. Don't throw me into issues like this that have nothing to do with it. Do not try to hide yourself behind some kind of statistics that your top officials, that your top bureaucrats from Brussels, Strasbourg, London, Berlin, Washington DC, Paris, Rome, Madrid implicated themselves in, together with their Oslo partners, Stockholm partners, etc., etc. This one here was simply obsessed. Obsessed with the idea to prove me that he in fact did have a cancer. I do not dispute this stuff. However, this man is not my hero. This is a top criminal, for one thing. This is a king of the criminals. This is a criminal king. That's what this is. This is a bastard of the bastards. Dunk of the dunks is what this is. This is the one who destroyed me. It was not Milan Kučan who destroyed me. It was this man right there. It was his father, Prince Philip. It was his mother, Queen Elizabeth. His brother, Prince Andrew. And it's his son, William and Harry, for whom this dunk is doing their best to destroy me, to remove me, so they can have a fresh beginning. And you can title him, you can write about him, whatever you want to write about him. But there's people who don't have for medications. There is people who are not allowed to go get medications. And there is no reason There is no reason that the dung you see in my case, for me not to have access to, actually it's my mother that is paying for the health care. I have the right to, basically, other than what I stated in this video. He has got no business to dance over there as a cancer champion, as somebody or something, when he is a dunk of the dunks. It was not Milan Kuchan. Just remember about this case. It was this man who killed me. This shit. He was the one who destroyed me 53 years. It's not a Soviet Union here. It's not Yugoslavia here. It's not Slovenia here. But it is European Union. It is NATO. And I am a citizen of United States of America since year 2000. Naturalized citizen. Do you understand what I stated? I am a citizen, naturalized citizen of United States of America since 2000. It's not Soviet Union. It's not Serbs that are doing this. It's a dunk, king of the dunks, that did this and continue to do this while bullying, harassing exactly with the stuff that you see right there. He might have a cancer, but it's really none of my business. He's using a cancer issues to cause me harm, to cause me more injuries, to get me killed through more bureaucracy, through more corruption, through more stuff against me. Just as I stated, so he could start the fresh beginning for his beloved William and Harry. He is a kingpin of the genocide against me, was involved with his parents since my earliest childhood. Since my earliest childhood. You understand? Since my earliest childhood. That being said, I don't have anything else to say in respect to this video. I did cover absolutely everything, whatever I possibly could cover in this video. I am going to put the links right underneath below. This was the video about these people, about who sent me the letter. Who sent me the letter. Video, absolutely everything is based on MK Ultra and previous MK Ultra stuff. And I did mention what I the strongest dots here. I don't even actually find this right now. It doesn't come to me. I'm a little bit exhausted from all this stuff that I did. You can imagine about this. Talk to me about the fucking talk to me about telepathically communicating with the state officials is just the looks of the bullshit, and equaling telepathy with MK Ultra and with the stalking and with the surveillance. I mean, this lady needs to undergo a thorough psychiatric evaluation because of the lies that she listed on the, it doesn't matter, all through psychiatrist Peter Kapsch had with police with these people from Milan Kucan, everything to do with it, and the only thing she did was she repeated the words that you can translate literally Slovenian letters. That you just enter the letter, which is below, you're gonna find one in the Google search, and get them translated to the perfect English. Any idiot understands. This was just the looks of the bullshit. Telepathically communicating. What is got telepathic to do with stalking, with MK Ultra brainwash? These people in Slovenia claim there is no such thing like a brainwash. And interesting enough, it's a police that does this. It's psychiatrists who claim that MK Ultra doesn't exist. And have found me is what they claim in. I was obviously psychologically not normal, obviously that you know, that kind of stuff. Thanks God, everything is audio video recorded for you to go and check hardcore evidence, which, and I encourage you to investigate yourself this stuff. However, I will also answer down below. I will start to post also answers to her letter, just the way she instructed me to do. I am now 53 years old. All my life was wasted. In Slovenia, where I was absent about, altogether I was absent from Slovenia about 13 years and a half. So 40 years I spent in Slovenia. My income, together with the social support and everything, I don't know if it reached, for the 40 years, if it reached 40 years in Slovenia, 42 years in Slovenia, 42 years in Slovenia. I don't know if my income in Slovenia, everything with the salaries and with everything, if it reached 8,000 euros. With the social support, with the salaries and everything, I don't know if it reached 8,000 euros. 8,000 euros for 42 years. Think about this case. Think about what it is to go sleep every fucking night on the floor and wonder if you're gonna wake up the next day, sipping the water every here and there to somehow get you going, your shit they have done to you. Think about your King Charles, your big cancer hero. And I don't give a three fuck if he has one. I'm not saying he doesn't have one. I just hope that he will rotten in pain and in vain. With my bringing this case to the end, that means it will be in vain for him. Yeah. Your King Charles was the one who claimed during MK Ultra that somehow God is always on my side and that he will destroy me by my making a claim that he does not have a cancer. This is not the claim I ever made. This is not the claim I am making. He claimed that everything that I say always comes true. And that's the one time he said, that's what he claimed, that he's gonna fuck me and prove me that he does have a cancer and so on. No, this is not what the fuck I'm saying. I'm saying that this man has all the money in the world. He has every physician in this world in his hands. I claim that this bastard is, I don't know, 78 years old. I don't know how old he is. And I didn't have any life. And this guy just had more than anybody possibly could imagine can have in life. He's a miserable bastard that did absolutely everything possible to destroy my life, and he was really successful at it with Milan Kučan, assisting him on every step of the way, Putin and others. This might have nothing to do with the Ukraine. Just as I stated, Ukraine and I are completely different issues, and one does not compensate for the other. This concerns civil rights issues, it concerns people, the law, democracy, status of the Western world, the real indicator of the Western world democracy. You cannot apologize by saying, oh, well, you know, we're not going to dump Slovenia from the European Union, we're not going to dump one from United Nations, we're just going to step out. You don't rationalize with any of that stuff, or we're just going to, you know, whatever the fuck. You don't rationalize any of that stuff. That's all I gotta say. I will translate. I'm not gonna translate this. I'm just gonna provide the answers for this letter. It doesn't come anything else that I would have to say about this letter, about any of this stuff in respect to this. Sonia Breznik was involved in this since my high school, since I was probably 14, 15, 16 years of age. They did have me at this prosecutor office in Novo Mesto also, with these females and so on. Yeah, I did describe absolutely everything. I don't have anything else I would say about this. I did go and explain how all this stuff started, how it all went. And British royals were playing a good guy, a good boy, and so on and so forth. Even they were claiming during MK Ultra, they were always creating this bipolarization, you know, bipolar stuff, you know, playing a good guy and bad guy, and creating always urgency. That's how they fuck people up with this imitation of the schizophrenia. That's how that stuff is done. Hey, this is a fucking scum, alright? This Strasbourg, Brussels, and this, you fucking animals, you are. Fucking animals, you are.